Welcome to LOCKBEARD Phenomena number 99, U.F.O PSYOP. More on this whistleblower stuff. It is Saturday, July 29th, 2023. Start time is supposed to be 6 p.m. Central Time, but I was running a little bit late dealing with some nonsense. It is very, very hot down here in Oklahoma. If Uncle Bone's hanging around, he's going to, laugh at a mere 100 degrees. It's nothing. And we've had hotter in Oklahoma, but it's just makes everything way more difficult. The computer was not cooperating. I got the fan chessboard sent me. That the laptop sits on this fan, but it's just so hot. Even then, the computer's just not wanting to cooperate. So I just escaped the heat, went to the house, got a shower, put the laptop in the refrigerator while I was in there. So it's really cold. The only problem with doing that is I pull it out in humid Oklahoma, it gets some condensation on it. So hopefully it doesn't cause any problems. It doesn't seem to be. Which I knew that would probably be an issue, but the computer was there. The live stream wasn't going to happen. Basically, the live stream wasn't going to happen, and so maybe we can keep it cool enough. The temperature's starting to go down, so we will see. Let me bring up the chat on Rumble. There we go. Angel was first here. It looks like she says, "Hi, Lockbird. Think your intro's stuck on loop." No, it's well, I mean, I guess technically it's on loop. On Rumble, on Rumble, you have to set up a up to 1 minute long loop video. Any kind of some kind of video that they just play on loop while up up until when you start your live stream. I don't know why they do that. I mean, I guess it could be, there might be some. It should be a choice whether or not you can do that or not. And I don't know. I don't think it is a choice. You have to do it. So I had to make some special 1 minute long intros for both, and you'll see it plays the same music on both the Random Lives and the LOCKBEARD Phenomena live streams. The Achaeos song, but it was a good link. I wanted to kind of use the full length because repeating a 15-second long loop is going to be way harder on people that are just hanging out in the chat until the live stream starts than a 1 minute one where, imagine the repeating something that's real short over and over again. It might get kind of more annoying, I would think. But so I wanted to do the longest version. It's a shortened version of the normal live stream intros with different music. But that's what that is. That's Rumble makes you do that. So if you watch on YouTube, once the YouTube channel is out of suspension, which is about 3 days away, I think, you won't see that. Probably not going to see random lives on YouTube for sure now because random lives are too risky. YouTube is shit canning me for something, and I'm not sure what it is specifically. But I see all kinds of Alex Jones on YouTube now, and they're not doing anything about that. They're not, you know what I mean? There's something up. Alex Jones says everything. So I don't know why I'm being targeted so much, other than maybe it's an indication that Alex Jones is controlled opposition himself, and he gets to say exactly what they want him to say, and maybe he says shit that they don't want him to say, but it's what keeps people, certain groups of people watching, so that when they need him to disperse a piece of misinformation, he's there to do it, and his followers will believe him. Just a hypothesis, just a guess. I can't say that for sure, but I'm skeptical of everybody. I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. If he's legitimately pushing back. But yeah. So let's see. So yeah, that explains that. Bobby Ounce is here. Welcome. Hot here too in Monteverde, Florida, about the storm. Bobby, I was trying. I don't know if you remember months ago. I was trying like hell, applying for jobs down in Florida, trying to find some way to get to Florida. I can't go to Florida at all now. I don't got no money for no gas to be trying to drive to Florida. Just that alone, let alone getting established in a home. So if there's an employer down there that will employ me, provide me a place to stay, and pay for the relocation expense, I'm there. Florida would be fucking awesome because I can have hot and humid in Oklahoma, or I could have hot and humid in Florida, as long as I'm close to a beach where I can catch all the seafood I want. But but uh, but other times I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Florida. You're one asteroid away from the whole damn state getting rinsed off. I mean, I think your highest point in Florida is what, 133, 135 feet, something like that. If there's a big enough asteroid hits in the ocean, not too far away from Florida, Florida will be entirely rinsed off. Let's see. Angel says, I wish I could send you the cooler temperatures. I have 58 right here. Yeah, 58 is awesome. I don't know. I mean, hopefully the channels take off, and I got some money to work with. And here, I mean, I got some ideas of what I could do because an in-ground home. I think there's a place where I can do this where I have everything I need, and I can live stream from there and everything. But I'll need to build. I need to build it. It'll be an in-ground. It'll be a hobbit home. Be kind of like a hobbit home. But I need some money. I need the channels to take off and so on and so forth. And I don't know what's things have just taken a downturn. For a little bit there, I was not there were enough donations I could almost skate by, and I was thinking, well, it can only go up from here. Hell no, it went down, and it went down in a big way. And so now I'm just scraping by. So I don't know. So, but hopefully, if I could build the in-ground home, like we talked about it on the channel before, underground in most areas that all of us are familiar with is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 55 degrees year round. So you light a couple of candles and it's warm enough for you in the wintertime, right? You don't have to have a serious heating system at all. You turn on all the lights and your computer's on, your TV's on, you're probably going to be warm enough in there. It's really easy to heat 55 degrees up to whatever's comfortable for a lot of people. I'm actually happy at 55, to be honest. It's only a few degrees you got to go. It's not that far. But if you're in a normal house above ground and you're trying to heat up from 15 degrees or even 35 degrees, you got a long way to go and a lot of energy to burn to get there. Underground homes are the best way to go. And then, of course, in the summertime, you don't need AC. 55 degrees is cooler than a lot of people keep their homes. And if you're not happy with that, turn on a fan. You don't need an air conditioner underground. So, there's a possible location where I can do that, and it's just that I need the construction cost, and and then I think I can there the Wi-Fi there at that location will be just as weak as this is, if not weaker. So at some point, I'll have to be thinking about somehow trying to get some uh, some internet piped out there somehow that's better. Uh, Probably get by on it like I've been doing, but yeah, that'd be awesome. Um, Bobby says, "Glad to see you on Brian Craig's YouTube channel." Yeah, wasn't expecting to see you there. That's for sure. That was a surprise. Um, Angel says, "I watched it for about 5 minutes before I realized it was repeating." Yeah. So you thought we were starting? Yeah. Probably really messed you up when I was late starting, because I was late starting. Um, Angel says, "Can you put it on the community tab so we know when you will be here? Have not figured out notifications for Rumble." On the community tab on YouTube, um, I would love to, but because I'm suspended right now, I can't put anything on the community tab on YouTube until I'm out of suspension. Um, so yeah, and then of course I've been like I got my email list, and there's only so many people on the email list, and I didn't send it out this time, so that's probably why a lot of people aren't here. Um, maybe I can do that while we're talking. So it I don't know what's happened with Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee's out of uh, out of business for some reason. Um, so not a lot of people check their emails very regularly. Like I see my emails, I see them, they pop up, all the time. As long as I'm on the computer, I'll see it immediately, and I always check my email as soon as I get on the computer. It's really hard for me to miss my email. That's kind of the primary way of interacting with everything. Um, so it's hard for me. But apparently, a lot of other people don't check their emails regularly. So like one person asked me about maybe sending the message on Facebook, which I guess I'll probably go ahead and set up a list on Facebook to to uh, to my own notification out that way to the people on Facebook that I'm connected to. But but it wasn't something I was looking to get into, because I've been trying to I've been trying to get out of Facebook slowly over time. I'm trying to de-emphasize, like I don't want to be there. I don't want to support Zuckerberg. That man is evil and despicable and a scum, and Facebook should be shot in the head, to be honest. And so, but I guess for messaging purposes, it's fine. Another problem with Facebook is, it's CIA book. They're monitoring everything there, but they're pretty much monitoring everything everywhere. So yeah. Um, I would go ahead and I just emailed the email list. I just emailed the email list so those people know now. I forgot to do it earlier. I'm not going to bring up Facebook because Facebook, like every time I turn on Facebook on the computer, it slows it down. It just, I don't know, all the CIA satellites start linking up to it, and it's a disaster. So I'm not going to do that right now. But sometime soon, I guess I'll set up a email message list on Facebook, so like those people that want to those people that want me to send them the link to the directly to the live stream that way, I'll do that as well. So, but you gotta email me, or for an email if you want it on the email list, and you gotta send me a message on Facebook if you want to be on the Facebook message list. Because yeah, YouTube's not going to tell you, and if I'm not even on YouTube, like right now, I'm only on Rumble at the moment. So got 11 watching, awesome. So yeah, you're not going to get a notification at all right now, and the community tab, I'm not allowed to post on the community tab. I went ahead and started another backup LOCKBEARD channel on YouTube because I'm going to keep fighting them. No reason to stop fighting them. Some people are like, no, I got to keep fighting them. I got to keep pushing the boundaries, and I got to keep fighting them. And so with the backup YouTube channel, I don't have a community tab yet there either. So and hardly anyone's subbed to it yet. So for everyone who's watching, if you haven't subbed to the backup YouTube channel, look in the description of my video of my live streams. You'll see there's a link to the Rumble channel, there's a link to the YouTube channel, and there's a link to the backup YouTube channel that I'll use over there if I get suspended again. So and I might if I can. I can't live stream to it either. I can't live stream to the backup channel right now. I explained why on the last live stream. They're the stupid rules. YouTube has rules to slow your shit down. They'll find a way. They're like the government. They'll find a way to fuck with you. And I don't know about notifications on Rumble. I don't know how it works. I know Rumble has a lot of work to do, and I'm getting sick of people telling me, oh, they're working on it, and nothing ever happens, hardly ever. They're not improving anything. They're certainly not improving much of anything that matters to me, other than I can live stream now. They did that at least, but everything else, and Rumble, you got to listen. You got to fix this stuff quick. You fix this stuff real quick, you can destroy YouTube. YouTube is over. If Rumble it becomes a proper, like, things need to work the same on Rumble. When I search for stuff on Rumble, I'm sick of typing in shit on Rumble in a search, and then it'll pop up an empty page. We didn't find anything that fit that. I was like, really? Nothing remotely close, or just find it. You're supposed to bring up a whole page of shit, the closest you could find. If it's not the exact word somewhere, I guess it doesn't pop up. Rumble search sucks ass. Rumble's great because it's free speech, but Rumble needs to change their shit, and they need to make the live streaming work with StreamYard the same way YouTube works with StreamYard. Not this crap here, because this crap sucks. It really sucks. You need to make it work the same way with StreamYard that YouTube does. You fix these things I'm talking about, everyone will jump the fuck off of YouTube and come to Rumble. You know, you would think that they would not want to be on YouTube at all, but the fact is the masses are over there, and you got to, if you can't give them something very similar to YouTube, that you can't draw them over. So that's where we're at. We got a problem, but we're glad that Rumble is providing free speech, but we're dragging because Rumble isn't fixing the things that it needs to fix. So I don't know. Angel says, when you're out of YouTube jail, just put something like "see you at whatever time." Yeah, but I can't post anything in the community tab. It won't let me. I'm suspended. Mr. Lee's MIA. Yeah, Donald keeps saying Mr. Lee's taking a break. Preambulist says you're halfway into Rumble. You'll get there. I know. We're getting there. Preamble says Google made you stupid and you complain. Well, I mean, Google's kind of got everybody by the balls, so we got a problem there. They're too big. They're too powerful. Um, the government's Google's a puppet, and the government's got their hand up its ass. So we're kind of fucked. So hopefully we get enough people in government fighting for us to fix this shit. Hopefully, I mean, obviously the Democrat Party's not it. Democrat Party is so completely disgustingly corrupt, it's insane. The Republican Party is mostly corrupt, and it's hard to tell for sure who's really on your side. So, so that's why I say, people who you may not want to run for office, because, I mean, let's be real, it is a complete pain in the ass. But if you want to be free, we need you people to run for mayors. We need you people to run for governors and all the other offices at the state level. And we need you to start trying to work your way into a federal level, because today's mayor is tomorrow's governor, is the next day's congressman, is the next day's potential president. And so you got to start from the bottom and flush the corruption out from the bottom. The corrupt people are jumping in. They love positions of power so they can abuse them. That's why so many cops are corrupt, is because that position of power attracts bad guys who want to feel that surge of power, that and because they never earned respect, and because they're not someone you would respect, but they know that they put that badge on, that uniform, you get instant respect from a bunch of people. It's not earned respect. It's artificial, but they'll jump on it and then they'll abuse their power. They'll take bribes. They will extort sex out of teenage girls to get out of a ticket so their parents don't find out. I mean, these people are goddamn disgusting fucks, and there's a few good cops out there, but it seems like it's wearing thin. So the people out there, we got to get into these positions of power, and it's hard. It's hard. If you don't have money, you can't. You got to kind of pay your way in. If you don't have money, you're fucked. You can't get. Like a state of Oklahoma here. If you want to run for governor, you either got the money to pay a fee and they just let you run, or you got to go door to door and try to get people to sign a petition if you don't got the money. Well, that's a roadblock to the poor people. Why is it a poor person's got to go get a bunch of people and knock on doors, and the rich person does not? It's because it's corrupt. It's a rich guys only club, and America needs to realize that we need to destroy that, and we need to go and get regular everyday people who can't afford all this bullshit, and we need to get behind them and elect them. A large part of the reason why is these are people who actually understand what you are going through. They know what it's like to pinch a damn penny. Those assholes in the government sure as hell don't. We know what it's like to barely get by, living paycheck to paycheck. The government, if their credit limit runs out, well, they do. They say, well, we'll just raise our own credit limit. Can I raise my own credit limit? Hell no. But they can. And they make you pay for all of it. So we need to get on to the U.F.O. stuff, though. Angela says, Facebook does slow mine down big time. If I click on Facebook with other tabs open, it kicks them off. Yeah, Facebook fucks my shit up. I got it turned completely off right now. Hopefully. You never know. They're sneaky. But Preamble says, wasn't meant to be mean. People can't type a simple URL. They Google search everything. They got you by the balls, as you said. Yeah. Well, it wasn't too long ago. The URL was kind of a magical term. People didn't know, like, what the hell is that thing? They never heard of it before. Should be second nature by now. But who knows? So I don't know if y'all. Is there anything else we need to address before we start into this shit? I don't know if you've been following the. What am I trying to do here? Hold on a second. I'll get this fixed. You just switch over to boom, Committee on Oversight and Accountability. This is a holy shit clusterfuck, I tell you what. That's not what I want. How about that for a moment? We'll do this for a minute. Let that alien peek at you. Hey, that alien right there. Hold on, right there. That is that's Bing AI generated shit right there. Well, I modified it afterwards. It's not the same as what the Bing popped out. I changed some stuff about it, but yeah. So probably need to go to this or this. Probably this. All right, they got the whistleblowers in there, and I figured we'd go through, listen to a lot of it anyway. And there's a few funny moments, comment on some stuff here. So let's check it out.
The subcommittee hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, will come to order. Welcome, everyone. Without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time. Additionally, without objection, the following members are waived onto the subcommittee for the purpose of participating in today's hearing: Mr. Burchett of Tennessee, Ms. Luna of Florida, Mr. Getz of Florida, Mr. Burleson of Missouri, Mrs. Ocasio-Cortez of New York, and Mr. Ogles of Tennessee. Without objection, so ordered. For today's subcommittee hearing, both the chair and ranking member will have 10 minutes for opening remarks. We may both be giving some of those minutes to other members of our party. I'm now going to recognize myself for 10 minutes.
I gotta say, I don't know if y'all listen to this. I've listened to it 7 times now, I think. This is the most bizarre thing you ever saw. If you watch committee hearings and stuff like that, this will blow your mind. Not because of anything to do with UFOs. It'll blow your mind because the Democrats and Republicans almost take 0 pot shots at each other. It's crazy. It's fucking amazing.
I'm actually going to try to get out of here in about 4, and then we'll give it to some of my friends over here. Good morning and welcome to the most exciting subcommittee in Congress this week, the Subcommittee on National Security of the Border and Foreign Affairs, for discussion of unidentified anomalous phenomenon. I'd like to thank the brave military pilots and personnel, such as the witnesses on the panel today, for sharing their stories on how they've engaged UAPs, which has brought attention to this matter. Curiosity and speculation from all walks of life have generated interest in studying what UAPs are and what threats they may pose. I will say that when I was younger in school, I read a book, a 1966 book called Flying Saucers, Serious Business, and for a while, when I was a little bit younger, I thought it was the most important issue out there. The lack of transparency regarding UAPs, which was one of the themes of that book, in any event, it's led to interest in studying what UAPs are and what threats they pose. The lack of transparency regarding UAPs has fueled wild speculation and debate for decades, eroding public trust in the very institutions that are meant to serve and protect them, as is evidenced by the large number of people we have here. I also want to point out in 1966, President Gerald Ford claimed to have seen a UFO, and in 1969 in Georgia, Jimmy Carter claimed to have seen a UFO. So this has led Congress to establish entities to examine UAPs. The National Defense Authorization Act of 2022 established the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, to conduct or to coordinate efforts across the Department of Defense and other federal agencies to detect, identify, and investigate UAPs. However, AARO's budget remains classified, prohibiting meaningful oversight from Congress. In addition to AARO's efforts, NASA is leading an independent study on UAPs that will identify how UAP data is gathered from both civilian and government entities that can be analyzed to shed light on the topic. However, despite these offices being established, there lies a pressing demand for government transparency and accountability that cannot be overlooked. And that's been a problem that's been around for 50 years. The Biden administration handling of the Chinese spy balloon that violated U.S. airspace is one example how the government is not prepared for these. The Biden administration's description of events has shown that the government continues not to be forthright between the China.
I gotta say, when he says the government is not prepared for these in reference to the so-called spy balloon, man, that's an understatement and a half. That's insane. This guy right here, who is this guy? Who's this guy? Preamble says New York dance woman UFO expert right on. Yeah, well, she actually doesn't go batshit crazy. I mean, she's still got crazy eyes. She's still AOC. He's talking about AOC for anybody that doesn't realize it. Preambulus in the chat says New York dance woman UFO expert right on. Yeah, she actually behaves herself. She's kind of an adult in this damn hearing. It's crazy. But yeah, this guy here on the screen, Mr. Grothman, is chairman. When he says because our government did not handle the spy balloon very well, that we're not prepared for UFOs, that's just a fantastic understatement. It's crazy. I almost don't want to listen to all of
Chinese balloon being shot down and 2 UAPs subsequently shot down following the event earlier this year. The U.S. government spent $1.5 million in taxpayer dollars on missiles, yet we have seen little clarity from the Biden administration. We must demand transparency from the Department of Defense, our intelligence community, and our defense industry on the UAP work. We're going to ask some questions about that today. Congress recognizes that the subject of UAPs is multifaceted and requires a careful, data-driven approach. Today, we'll see clarity from these witnesses' testimonies, or we'll seek clarity as to what can be done to improve reporting for military and civilians and remain committed to objective inquiry. Congress should work to ensure that knowledge is not driven by fear. Today, we are not just debating the existence of UAPs, we are deliberating on the principles that define our republic, which is a commitment to transparency and accountability. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses today about ways we can improve government efficiency and openness when it comes to UAPs. I thank each of you for your presence here today and for your dedication to safeguarding the interests of the American people. I look forward to your testimony. I'm going to turn it over for 2.5 or 3 minutes to Representative Burchett from Tennessee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here. I want to thank everybody for making this happen today. And I want to remind everybody this is a nonpartisan issue. This has nothing to do with party politics. I think the cover-up goes a lot deeper than that. I also want to thank my colleagues, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, sitting beside me here, Jared Moskowitz, my friend across the aisle, has an incredible mind, and I'm anxious to hear his questions. My buddy Eric Burleson, and it's not in my notes here, but Matt Gates. If it hadn't been for Matt Gates, myself, him, and Luna would still be down at Eglin Air Force Base trying to get some answers. He's got an incredible legal mind. Also, I know I saw it in the crowd there, George Knapp, my buddy Jeremy Corbell. They're not witnesses, but they've provided some statements on this subject, and I seek unanimous consent.
So you might notice a couple of names he mentioned there. You'll see behind Grush, you'll see George Knapp and Corbell are both behind there. They're sitting on each side of Brush's lawyer is the other guy sitting there. So, but you'll see George Knapp and Corbell, Jeremy, I think is his first name, Corbell, which makes me wonder, like, you know, okay, I can see why these guys would want to be here, but are these guys also controlling the narrative for the government that they get to come and sit there? You know, would I be able to get in there to sit there? Is this something? I mean, why? You know, why are these two guys? Does the Congress consider these guys to be legitimate investigators? Because I'm not sure that I do. Or are they trying to? Because they got them there. It makes me wonder if they're trying to make us feel like that those guys are the real deal. And if the government wants me to believe those two guys are the real deal, I think I should think opposite. Because I don't trust the fucking government. So,
consent to enter those statements into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection.
Also, would like to enter in. I understand now that this is unclassified and it's public record, but as we all know, that's sometimes difficult for the public to get a hold of. A report, Defense Intelligence reference document is advanced space propulsion based on vacuum, space-time metric engineering. Some light reading for some of our members.
Without objection.
Thank you. You know, Mr. Knapp wrote, since 1969, the position of our military has been that UFOs pose no threat to national security and are not worthy of further study. I'd say that's the biggest understatement of the decade. And he also goes.
Yeah, it's funny how he's commenting on understatements. He talked to the chairman what he just said, Mr. Burchett.
Was on to talk about the dismissive attitude and said odds with what was revealed in documents, reports, and internal memos. Mr. Cabral says, as he writes these words, the UFO is emerging as a major topic of global importance. I can state that as a fact out there. I met a fellow who came in here all the way from Denmark to be here for this meeting. So this is huge. This is worldwide. I think we suspect what's going on, but I'd also like to thank the members of Congress who have supported our efforts to make this hearing happen. Some have even confided to me that they've had UFO sightings of their own. Those members, of course, some of them wish to remain anonymous, and I'll keep it that way. But also, finally, I'd like to thank these three brave witnesses here. They took an oath. They took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and dadgummit, they're doing it. And we owe them a debt of gratitude. Y'all quit clapping. You're cutting in on my time. Just kidding. These folks, they've got nothing to gain from this, and I think you're going to find out that they've endured quite a few slings and arrows. We need to remember them in our prayers and their families. And I'm thankful to them for their honest testimonies. They have done interviews and appeared in documentaries like Accidental Truth to get their stories out there, and now they are all here to testify under oath for Congress. It's been so difficult to get here today. I said, in the Baptist church, we'd say that the devil's in our way, and the devil has been in our way through this thing. We've run into roadblocks from members from the intelligence community, the Pentagon. I proposed legislation to go in the FAA reauthorization that just said if an airline pilot has a sighting, that when he makes that report to the FAA, that it would come to Congress. But I was told that the intelligence community did not like that, and the amendment was not even heard in committee. I think it's time for this country to take back our country. We need to tell the folks at the Pentagon they work for us. Goddammit, we don't work for them. And that's exactly the point. This is an issue of government transparency. We can't trust a government that does not trust its people. We're not bringing little green men or flying saucers into the hearing. Sorry to disappoint about half y'all. We're just going to get to the facts. We're going to uncover the cover-up, and I hope this is just the beginning of many more hearings and more people coming forward about this. And I yield back the remainder of my time. I think, is it to Representative Luna, Mr. Chairman? Or
Yeah, well, we'll call Ms. Luna for her statement.
The circumstances surrounding UAPs has captivated the attention of the American people for decades, ingrained in even the minds of our nation's leaders from Jimmy Carter to Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump, Marco Rubio to Chuck Schumer, John Radcliffe to National Security Council officials. Yet from Roswell, New Mexico to the coast of Jacksonville, Florida, the sightings of UAPs have rarely been explained by the people who have firsthand accounts of these situations. This is largely due to the lack of transparency by our own government and the failure of our elected leaders to make good on their promises to release explanations and footage and mountains of overclassified documents that continue to be hidden from the American people. This isn't just how I feel. In fact, the American people largely believe that the government has actively covered up the truth about UAPs. One poll in particular found that 68% of Americans believe that the government is hiding information about UAPs and not being honest about what we know about them. And from my personal experience, I believe the same thing. Another poll found that nearly half Americans believe that the federal government is doing a very bad or somewhat bad job of dealing with reports of UFO sightings. As Representative Burchett just referenced on the FAA bill that just went through, you can tell that that's exactly happening. Considering the thousands of testimonies and videos taken on people's phones and eyewitnesses accounts made by credible witnesses such as doctors, pilots, scientists, and active duty service members, it is unacceptable to continue to gaslight Americans into thinking that this is not happening or that the potential of intelligent life forms exists other than humans. Even more alarming is the fact that these eyewitnesses are many times service members and have no assurance that their lives will not be negatively impacted or even harmed by their experiences. In being an active duty service member working on an airfield, I've had conversations with many pilots where they were in fear of coming forward for retribution and or being taken off flight status. How do we know this? Because the government has said nothing to assure us otherwise. They have also did nothing to calm the concerns of over 20% of Americans who have reported to have seen UFOs or UAPs. We are simply told not to question the government and that the government has it under control. Today is the first hearing of its kind where we will attempt to get down to the bottom of what is actually happening with UAPs. But we will hear from people who have had personal sightings rather than Pentagon bureaucrats who have always been sent to stonewall our investigations. Just so
I try to get past all these opening statements because y'all really want to hear what the witnesses have to say. Sorry, Mr. Garcia. I don't know if Mr. Garcia is asking questions or not. Because this thing is over 2 hours long and we don't need to be. We'll end up being here 3 hours if we try to listen to all this.
And alternative facts make it too easy to doubt narrative or our institutions. But this hearing will offer the public unique.
I'll keep moving forward.
Not just by the.
So I don't remember where the opening statements end, but.
And that's why we are. Our sensors and other sensitive material. Some of our government agencies. And we should remind viewers and witnesses, which I think is really important.
In a time in which many people distrust government and our institutions, and overclassification of information away from the American public or even Congress contributes to today's politics.
Mr. Moscow, that outfit is very blue. It's kind of loud.
The American people have regular questions.
Kind of loud, Mr. Malkowitz.
But were used in the Osama bin Laden raid in 2011.
I'll find it sooner or later. I think they're right. We're about where they swear them in, I think, and then they'll get to the questions. As soon as this thing stops thinking. I got buffering. Angel says special interest groups shell out the money for their choice of candidates, leaving the common person out. Yep, that's very true. That's got a lot of hold on a second. You gotta get donors. You gotta get people donating to the campaign, because even those people that are, I mean, those guys are usually pretty wealthy anyway, most of them. But if you aren't wealthy, you gotta get the donations rolling in, or you risk being one of those candidates that nobody ever hears about. You gotta, in order to get loud, you gotta have the money coming in and really make some noise. And yeah, so yeah, it's a mess. Brambula says, I recommend The Disappearance of Flight 412. Good watch on the subject. Awesome.
Let the record show that all the witnesses answered in the affirmative. You may be seated. We appreciate you all being here today and look forward to your testimony. I'll remind the witnesses that we have read your written statements and they will appear in full in the hearing record. Please try to limit your oral statements to 5 minutes. As a reminder, please press the button on the microphone in front of you so that it's on and the members can hear you. When you begin to speak, the light in front of you will turn green. After 4 minutes, it'll turn yellow, and the red light, when that comes on, it tells you your 5 minutes have expired. I'll now recognize Mr. Graves for 5 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you. Chairman Grothman, Ranking Member Garcia, distinguished members of the House Oversight Subcommittee on National Security, Representatives Burchett and Luna. My name is Ryan Fobbs Graves, and I'm a former F-18 pilot with a decade of service in the U.S. Navy, including 2 deployments in Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Inherent Resolve. I have experienced advanced UAP firsthand, and I'm here to voice the concerns of more than 30 commercial aircrew and military veterans who have confided their similar encounters with me. Today, I would like to highlight 3 critical issues that demand our action. As we convene here, UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena. The stigma attached to UAP is real and powerful and challenges national security. It silences commercial pilots who fear professional repercussions, discourages witnesses. It is only compounded by recent government claims questioning the credibility of eyewitness testimony. Parts of our government are aware of more about UAP than they let on. The excessive classification practices keep crucial information hidden. Since 2021, all UAP videos are classified as secret or above. This level of secrecy not only impedes our understanding, but fuels speculation and mistrust. In 2014, I was an F-18 Foxtrot pilot in the Navy Fighter Attack Squadron 11, the Red Rippers, and I was stationed at NAS Oceana in Virginia Beach. After upgrades were made to our jet's radar systems, we began detecting unknown objects operating in our airspace. At first, we assumed they were radar errors, But soon, we began to correlate the radar tracks with multiple onboard sensors, including infrared systems, eventually through visual ID. During a training mission in Morning Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, two F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter. The mission commander terminated the flight immediately and returned to base. Our squadron submitted a safety report, but there was no official acknowledgement of the incident and no further mechanism to report the sightings. Soon, these encounters became so frequent that aircrew would discuss the risk of UAP as part of their regular pre-flight briefs. Recognizing the need for action and answers, I founded Americans for Safe Aerospace. The organization has since become a haven for UAP witnesses who were previously unspoken due to the absence of a safe intake process. More than 30 witnesses have come forward, and almost 5,000 Americans have joined us in the fight for transparency at safeaerospace.org. The majority of witnesses are commercial pilots at major airlines. Often, they are veterans with decades of flying experience. Pilots are reporting UAP at altitudes that appear above them at 40,000 feet, potentially in low Earth orbit or in the gray zone below the Kármán line, making inexplainable maneuvers like right-hand turns and retrograde orbits or J-hooks. Sometimes these reports are reoccurring, with numerous recent sightings north of Hawaii and in the North Atlantic. Other veterans are also coming forward to us regarding UAP encounters in our airspace and oceans. The most compelling involve observations of UAP by multiple witnesses and sensor systems. I believe these accounts are only scratching the surface, and more will share their experiences once it is safe to do so. In closing, I recognize the skepticism surrounding this topic. If everyone could see the sensor and video data I witnessed, our national conversation would change. I urge us to put aside stigma and address the security and safety issue this topic represents. If UAP are foreign drones, it is an urgent national security problem. If it is something else, it is an issue for science. In either case, unidentified objects are concerned for flight safety. The American people deserve to know what is happening in our skies. It is long overdue. Thank you.
Mr. Rush?
Mr. Chairman, ranking members and congressmen, thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is an important issue, and I'm grateful for your time. My name is David Charles Grush. I was an intelligence officer for 14 years, both in the U.S. Air Force, both active duty, Air National Guard, and Reserve, at the rank major, and most recently from 2021 to 2025, or excuse me, 2023. At the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, at the GS-15 civilian level, which is the
you can see there with the red tie over his shoulder, that is George Knapp. And then directly behind him in that light blue tie, that sky blue tie, that's his lawyer. And then in the, I don't know, that's some kind of brown or something shirt there, you see Corbell, although they got his head cut off. You'll be able to see their faces later. So yeah.
Agency's co-lead in unidentified anomalous phenomena and transmedium object analysis, as well as reporting to the UAP task force, UAPTF, and eventually, once it was established, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. I became a whistleblower through a PPD-19 urgent concern filing in May 2022 with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. Following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the U.S. government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I've been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also have shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony to myself and my various colleagues. I have taken every step I can to corroborate this evidence over a period of 4 years while I was with the UAP task force and do my due diligence on the individual sharing it. This is because of these steps, I believe strongly in the importance of bringing this information before you. I am driven by a commitment of both the truth and transparency, rooted in our inherent duty to uphold the United States Constitution and protect the American people. I'm asking Congress to hold our government to this standard and thoroughly investigate these claims. But as I stand here under oath now, I am speaking to the facts as I've been told them. In the U.S. Air Force, in my National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, reservist capacity, I was a member of the UAP Task Force from 2019 to 2021. I served at the NRO Operations Center on the Director's briefing staff, which included the coordination of the presidential daily brief and supporting a variety of contingency operations, which I was the Reserve Intelligence Division Chief backup. In 2019, the UAP Task Force Director asked me to identify all special access programs and controlled access programs, also known as SAPs and CAPs, we needed to satisfy our congressionally mandated mission, and we were direct report at the time to the DepSecDef. At the time, due to my extensive executive level intelligence support duties, I was cleared to literally all relevant compartments and in a position of extreme trust, both in my military and civilian capacities. I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program, to which I was denied access to those additional read-ons when I requested it. I made the decision based on the data I collected to report this information to my superiors and multiple inspectors general, and in effect becoming a whistleblower. As you know, I've suffered retaliation for my decision, but I am hopeful that my actions will ultimately lead to a positive outcome of increased transparency. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you. Commander Fravor?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Congressmen, Congresswomen. I want to first thank you for the invitation to speak to the committee on the UAP.
Let me check what the chat's what's going on in the chat. Let's see. Preamble, it says, or you're against war and get Tulsi Gabbard treatment. Yeah. Yeah. If you can do something to stand out, like RFK Jr., you know, he's getting a lot more. He's getting noticed a lot more because everyone's reacting so badly to him because of his stance on vaccinations, which I tend to agree with most anything he says, and so on and so forth. Chessboard says, hello, everybody. Welcome, Chessboard. You sent me a picture you ran across last night. Yeah, I think I just saw it drop in the email. Hopefully, I'm going to be fiddling with the layout here for a minute or two. So hopefully it doesn't interfere with your ability to hear what Commander Fravor is saying. Because he's the Tic Tac guy. He's the Tic Tac U.F.O. man.
Topic that's been in the news for the past 6 years and seems to be continuing to gain momentum. As you know, my name is David Fravor. I'm a retired commander in the United States Navy. In 2004, I was a commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 41, the world famous Black Aces. We were attached to Carrier Wing 11, stationed on board the USS Nimitz, and had begun a 2-month workup cycle off the coast of California. On this day, we were scheduled for a 2v2 air-to-air training with the USS Princeton as our control. When we launched off Nimitz, my wingman was joining up. We were told that the training was going to be suspended and we were going to proceed with real-world tasking. As we proceeded to the west, the air controller was counting down the range to an object that we were going to, and we were unaware of what we were going to see when we arrived. The controller had told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for hours, and then going straight back up. For those who don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space. We arrived at the location at approximately 20,000 feet in a controller called merge plot, which means that our radar blip was now in the same resolution cell as the contact. As we looked around, we noticed that we saw some whitewater off our right side. It's important to note that the weather on this day was as close to perfect as you could ask for off the coast of San Diego. Clear skies, light winds, calm seas, no whitecaps from waves. So the whitewater stood out in a large blue ocean. All four of us, because we were in F-18F, so we had pilots and Wizzo in the back seat, looked down saw a white tic-tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping pong ball. There were no rotors, no rotor wash, or any sign of visible control surfaces like wings. As we started clockwise towards the object, my Wizzo and I decided to go down and take a closer look at the other aircraft staying in high cover to observe both us and the tic-tac. We proceeded around the circle about 90 degrees from the start of our descent, and the object suddenly shifted its longitudinal axis, aligned it with my aircraft, and began to climb. We continued down another 270 degrees, nose low, where the tic-tac, or we considered 270 degrees to where, and we went nose low to where the tic-tac would have been. Our altitude at this point was about 15,000 feet, and the tic-tac was about 12,000. As we pulled nose onto the object, within about a half mile of it, It rapidly accelerated in front of us and disappeared. Our wingman, roughly 8,000 feet above us, lost contact also. We immediately turned back to see where the whitewater was at, and it was gone also. So as you started to turn back towards the east, the controller came up and said, "Sir, you're not going to believe this, but that thing is at your cap point, roughly 60 miles away in less than a minute. You can calculate the speed." We returned to Nimitz. We were taking off our gear. We were talking to one of my crews that was getting ready to launch. We mentioned it to him, and they went out and luckily got the video that you see, that 90-second video. What you don't see is the radar tape that was never released, and we don't know where it's at, of the act of jamming that the object put on an APG-73 radar, and I can get into modes later if you're interested. What is shocking to us is that the incident was never investigated. None of my crew were ever questioned. Tapes were never taken, and after a couple of days, it turned into a great story with friends. It wasn't until 2009 until Jay Stratton had contacted me to investigate. Unbeknownst to all, he was part of the ATIP program in the Pentagon led by Lou Elizondo. And there was an official report that came out that's now on the internet. Years later, I was contacted by the other pilot, Alex Dietrich, and asked if I'd been contacted, and I said no, but I'm willing to talk. I was contacted by Mr. Elizondo, and we talked for a short period of time, and he said we'd be in contact. A few weeks after that, I was made aware that Lou had left the Pentagon in protest and joined forces with Tom DeLonge, Chris Mellon, Steve Justice, and others to form Two Stars Academy, an organization that pressed the issue with leading industry experts and U.S. government officials. They worked with Leslie Keane, who is present today, Rob Blumenthal, and Helene Cooper to publish the articles in the New York Times 2017 New York Times, and it removed the stigma on the topic of UFOs, which is why we're here today. Those articles open the door for the government and public that cannot be closed. It has led to an interest from our elected officials who are not focused on little green men, but figuring out where these craft are, where are they from, the technology they possess, how do they operate. It also led to the Whistleblower Protection Act and the NDAA. There are multiple witnesses coming forward to say that have firsthand knowledge, and Mr. Grush just covered that. What concerns me is that there's no oversight from our elected officials on anything associated with our government processing or working on craft. Believe it or not, from this world. This issue is not a full public disclosure that could undermine national security, but it is about ensuring that our system of checks and balances works across all work done in the government using taxpayer funds. Relative to government programs, even unacknowledged WAVE programs have some level of oversight by the appropriate committee members in the House and Senate. And this work that is said to be occurring from whistleblower testimonies should not be exempt. In closing, I would like to say that the Tic Tac object we engaged in 2004 was far superior to anything that we had on time, have today, or are looking to develop in the next 10 years. If we in fact have programs that possess this technology, it needs to have oversight from those people that the citizens of this great country elected in office to represent what is best for the United States and best for the citizens. I thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know it's very difficult for all of you, all you've done in the past to try to illuminate this issue. Calling myself first for some questions. I'm going to start with Mr. Graves. Are pilots that you interact with as part of your organization, do you feel adequately trained and briefed on how to handle encounters with UAPs?
No. Right now, military witnesses to UAP have limited options for reporting UAP. But more concerning is that commercial aviation sector has not adapted to the lessons that military has implemented. The military and Department of Defense has stated that UAP represent a critical aviation safety risk. We have not seen that same language being used in the commercial markets. They are not acknowledging this risk. Okay,
what steps do you think you have to be taken to improve a pilot's UAP reporting, be it military or commercial?
Right now, we need a system where pilots can report without fear of losing their jobs. There's a fear that the stigma associated with this topic is going to lead to professional repercussions, either through management or perhaps through their yearly physical check. So having a secure system, reducing the stigma, and making this information available through the public is going to reduce the concerns that aircrew have.
Could you just give me a little idea of the degree to which reports in the past are not made public right now?
Well, I don't think there has been a proper reporting system to gather those reports and thus not report them. So to answer your question, I think there is a dearth of data due to the fact that the reporting has been limited up to this time.
Could you tell me why you believe it's kind of play the devil's advocate, a reason why some of this stuff should not be available to the public?
There's certainly some national security concerns when we use our advanced sensors in our tactical jets to be able to identify these objects. However, there's no reason that the objects themselves would be classified. I would be curious to see how the security classification guideline actually spells out the different nuances of how this topic is classified from the perspective of UAP, not national security.
I'll give you a follow-up on that. Assuming that there are reasons why not all this should be made public, this has been around for a long period of time. Can any of the three of you think of any reason why anything related to UAPs, say 15 years and back, should not be immediately made public?
I think one of it is acknowledging a vulnerability, both from a collection and I'll just say a countermeasure perspective. So it's that we haven't cracked for many years. Yeah.
Even say 20 years back. Is there any reason why, when you go back that far, things shouldn't be made public?
unless it shows a specific national security vulnerability as it relates to a weakness in a particular defense system.
Okay, Mr. Fravor, the TikTok incident that you were engaged occurred in 2004. What kind of reporting took place after that incident?
None. We had a standard debrief where the backseaters went down to our carrier intel center and briefed what had happened, and that was it. No one else talked to us, and I was in the top 20 in the battle group. No one came. The captain was aware, the admiral was aware, nothing was done.
Did your commanding officers provide any sort of justification?
No, because I was a commanding officer of the squadron, so no.
Was this incident the only UAP event that you encountered while you were a pilot?
Yes, it was.
Okay. This is for any one of you. Based off of each of your experiences and observations, do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes, and here's why. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
I'm gonna check the chat really quick. Let's see here. Chessboard says, Locke, I think what has come out about the administration pressuring Facebook and YouTube is about to change some things. I really hope so. I'm getting tired of hearing crap out of the, oh, we're about to do this, or we're about to get them, we're about to do this, and then nothing ever happens. I'm sick of watching, Republicans that are supposed to be on our side roasting the hell out of straight up evil criminal traitors, and then nothing ever happens to them. Even now, as it looks like that maybe they might actually do something to Hunter Biden. I don't think anything's going to happen. And then you're still going to have all these rhino pieces of shit in the Republican Party rotting it to the core. So, I'm sick of just shit not happening. So hopefully some shit actually happens, but I'm not too horribly optimistic. Cindy Finn's here. Welcome. And Chessboard says the First Amendment to the United States Constitution prevents the government from making laws that regulate or abridge the freedom of speech, the freedom of press, so on and so forth. Yeah. And they violated it. And personally, I'm not expecting, like, Donald Trump ain't gonna do shit. Okay, I know a lot of people love the fuck out of Donald Trump, and look, he's gonna for all he. I was railing on Donald Trump at the beginning, and then it just got tiresome, and it was, things seemed all lopsided with the way he was being treated from the left. So I kind of stopped bothering with him because, a couple of reasons. One, he's got a lot of damn support, so people like him, and he legitimately won 2016 election, even though who knows how much cheating was going on, he still won. And then he was the legitimate winner in 2020, but there was so much election fraud that they were able to conduct a coup. And so Joe Biden is not the legal president of the United States. He is an enemy criminal who has taken over our nation illegally, and he should be taken down by the authorities. Where the fuck these guys at? They're protecting him when they should be busting down a door and fucking somebody up. And I don't care what condition he's left in. He's a criminal enemy of the United States. The Secret Service shouldn't be guarding him. They should be taking his ass down. Because the Secret Service is supposed to protect the president, and the legitimate president is Donald Trump. We know they cheated that fucking election all the fuck, and they used multiple different techniques to do it. We know. So, Jesus Christ, this isn't rocket science here. So, but again, even though he's legitimately elected president, and he has all the support doesn't mean he's a good guy, right? Sometimes the people will vote for somebody who isn't good, who may be controlled opposition himself. He certainly isn't going to be someone that digs deep on some of these subjects that we talked about on LOCKBEARD Phenomena, UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts and all that stuff. If I was in that position, I'd be saying, look, I need every motherfucker with a gun that's supposed to take orders from the goddamn commander in chief, and we're going to go over here to this contractor over here that we sent U.S. tax dollars to that got funneled somewhere else. And they're going to mention in this hearing here where they fail to audit. The U.S. government basically fails the audit every fucking year, and for some goddamn reason, nothing ever happens about it. Well, my ass will make sure some shit happens about it. When we take Americans' money and then it just kind of disappears somewhere, somebody knows where the fuck it goes, where it went. So I'm going to be talking to the secretary of that particular department saying, hey, where the fuck did the goddamn money goes? Well, we got this much money and then it went to this department and that agency and they got all these. If you haven't really dug deep into how many different agencies are in the government, it's obscene. It's obscene. There's so much shit. I'd be in there like chopping shit out. I was like, why the fuck does this agency even exist? What the fuck do you do? It's for the money to just be vacuumed up in all different directions where you, the citizen, can't really figure out what the fuck is going on. It's such a goddamn mess. I'll be digging deep and going in there and saying, look, I want to know what this money's being used for, where it's going. Where the fuck did it go? How's the U.S. government not passing an audit? How does the U.S. government not balance a budget? It's really fucking easy. You spend less than you bring in. It's really goddamn easy. You guys can print the goddamn money and you can't even balance the budget with that power. That's insane. You can print money and you still can't balance the budget? Damn, that's bad. You guys suck at economics. But yeah, I'd be looking where this fucking money's going, and because wherever that money's going, that's where the bullshit's happening. That's where this UAP bullshit's going down. So I'd be going and kicking down some goddamn doors. And to me, whoever it is, these private contractors and these government agents who are rogue, involved in the Black Project, stealing your money to do it. And apparently, according to some of these whistleblowers, they're trafficking humans, they're trafficking guns, they're trafficking drugs. These people are enemies of the United States. And as far as I'm concerned, some doors need to be kicked down and bullets need to fly to root out and destroy this fucking evil. It's got to go. It cannot exist. This is why the CIA would probably assassinate my ass if I was elected president. They'd be like, oh, we can't have this motherfucker. I mean, look, the fact one of the first fucking executive orders he signed was to shut down the fucking CIA. You're goddamn right. You guys are corrupt to the core. You're acting against the interests of the United States. You are a threat to every goddamn American citizen. You are being taken down. You're fucking gone. There's no excuse for this bullshit other than there's too much goddamn corruption. These guys are going to sit here in this fucking hearing and act like they're doing something and nothing's going to fucking happen. So this is why the American people need to, this is just one of the many reasons why the American people need to start standing up to their government, start getting involved in government, start getting elected to at the local levels and on up. Do something. Go out and find people that agree with you who aren't registered to vote and say, hey, look, I know this is all kind of a mystery process to a lot of people. And but hey, you maybe you don't got a car or something, but I'll take you down there and I'll kind of walk you through it. And then on election day, when election day is coming, I'll remind you, like, you need to take some people who are non-voters and take them under your wing. If every voter got 3 people under their wing, so look, we've talked about some issues and we agree on some issues, and I think you should help us vote to change these things because you want to change these things, but you're not voting. And we need the power of the vote. We need you to go down there and help us change this thing. You can't just bitch about it and not fucking vote. You can't bitch about it. If you're not going to vote, you can't bitch. Right? You really can't. At least what that's saying. Now, if you ask George Carlin, it's the goddamn opposite, right? Because what did George Carlin say? He said, you guys voted for these assholes. I did not vote for these guys. Therefore, I can bitch. You guys chose them. But it, you know, he might have a little bit of point. But the fact is, we do have some good people we can elect to office to change things. And if you make sure you're voting for them, you can't just vote Republican, no. You certainly can't vote Democrat, but you can't just vote Republican and say, well, I'm voting for Republicans, so we're good. No. A lot of the Republican leadership are bad. And they proved this shit. They proved it. You mean you saw like when we needed Ron Paul to beat Obama and the Republican Party changed the rules in the middle of the night. Like if you're going to change the rules, you need to change them before the primary season begins, not right at the end during the Republican National Convention. Oh, we're going to change the rules. We're going to take away some of the Ron Paul delegates and replace them with our delegates. I mean, right there, point blank, in front of everybody, they stole the legitimately voted. The people voted for those delegates. They chose those delegates, and the RNC just took it away. They were like, free and fair elections? Nah, fuck that. The RNC, we choose who is going to be the nominee, and it's going to be this Mormon fuck over here who can't possibly beat Barack Obama. There's no way. This dipshit can't beat Barack Obama. And I told people that time. I told them that about the 2008 election, too. Got John McCain. I told people, I said, look, you want to beat Barack Obama, there is only one Republican candidate right now that can do that, and that's Ron Paul. No one fucking listened, and of course, you know, I didn't have a big audience. I didn't have any audience. A few people I communicated with online and family members and friends and stuff. Everybody's like, oh, no, Ron Paul's not viable. I'm like, no, you've been watching too much Fox News. You know that satanic channel we talked about last time? They're satanic. They support Satanists. Fox News is Satan worshipers. You understand that, right? They support Satan worshipers. And CNN and MSNBC, who were all saying the same thing to make sure everyone was programmed and understood that they said Ron Paul was not viable. Well, that was bullshit. Ron Paul was very viable. Ron Paul was polling high, straw poll, great. But all of a sudden, we picked this fuck? No, they cheated. The RNC cheated. The Republican leadership does not respect the vote of your average Republican voter. They don't. So the Republicans need to rebel. We need to rebel in a big way. But the exact nature of that we can discuss on a random live, perhaps, if y'all want to talk about that. I don't think the leaders of the Republican Party are going to understand anything different than some Thomas Jefferson action, though. No amount of protest. People were yelling and booing at the RNC. You can go back and look at video of it. They fucking just cheated right there in front of everybody. They're like, oh, they rigged the whole fucking thing. The RNC is corrupt as fuck. They're just as corrupt as the Democrats. They're just as corrupt. Not your average Republican on the street, but the leaders. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson time. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I do believe the RNC understands what the fuck that means. They stole your right to vote. They just took it right there in front of everybody. Republicans didn't get a choice. And they lost the election. They handed the RNC, because they did that, handed the election to Barack Obama on a silver fuck platter. Just like I said they would. Because what I tried to explain to people back then is like every single one of those Republican candidates will lose to Barack Obama, except Ron Paul. And these are the reasons why. These workers, no, 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 no. You guys ain't listen to me. The Republicans are like, they always, again, both parties do this. Let's ram our favorite guy, our most extreme version of ourselves, the most Republican motherfucker here, and the most Democrat motherfucker here, and we're gonna jam them down America's throats. That's not how you win a fucking election. That's how you have a ping pong match where Democrats win, Republicans win, Democrats win, Republicans win, back and forth, over and over again. I guarantee, whichever party wants to pay me the money to advise them who to nominate for your candidate to guarantee your win, and you listen to me, you'll win. Like Democrats right now, Gavin Newsom, no, you in a free and fair election, you will lose. Gavin Newsom will lose. RFK Jr. might give Donald Trump a run for his money. He just might do it. Republicans, you want to seal this bitch so tight to where no one can possibly beat you? At this point, Donald Trump, running mate RFK Jr., a landslide victory that this nation probably has never the fuck seen. Never the fuck seen. A landslide victory so fucking embarrassing for the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party might just fall on the ground in a fetal position, shit all over itself, and die. And I might actually drink some beer for that one. Or some liquor. I might actually get some liquor. I ain't had a drink in years. I might actually celebrate that shit. It'll be so fucking funny. See what we got here. Hope you're doing well. Cindy says, hi to everybody. Hi, Earl. Fuck both parties. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I wish we could get a third party rolling. Like, is America ready to say fuck both parties for real? Because a lot of people say fuck both parties, but then they don't actually go vote for the third party. The one third party that actually has a chance right now, Libertarian Party. It's just the reality. Go to the Libertarian Party, flood in there. Democrats that are pissed off, Republicans that are pissed off, and then all the other third parties besides the Libertarian Party don't even run a candidate. Y'all run into because look, none of you have a chance in the third parties unless one of the third parties can get that minimum number to get on the debate stage. You can't even get on the ballot in a lot of states. You've got to get the numbers built up in one of the third parties, and the only one that's the one that's feasible is the Libertarian Party. So everyone run there, and then get a good candidate. Do not pick the people. What was that bitch's name last time? Bad. No. She doesn't know. She didn't work. She supported BLM. Fuck that bitch. Supported BLM. BLM was a terrorist wing of the Democrat Party. That's all it is. That's why I call the Democrat Party, the whole damn party is a terrorist organization at this point. The shit that they have pulled makes them a terrorist organization. Son of a bitch. Sorry to get so much into politics on the phenomena, but there's so much shit going on, and it's crazy. We've got to have some action. Yeah, so Cindy, I agree with you. Chessword says, Cindy, 3 weeks ago, I asked Locke to check out Ramaswamy. Interesting character. Yeah, I don't trust Ramaswamy, though. I don't trust him. He says some stuff that sounds good, but I smell some bullshit there. I smell a rat. I don't know if I'm prepared to try and explain. Something ain't right with Ramaswamy. Democrats are going to say, he's too brown for you. Whatever. I'm racist. Fuck you. It don't matter what I say. I'm too white. Democrats will say I'm racist no matter what I say. No, something's not right about Ramaswamy. So, I'm not sure it's worth trying to like analyze them any closer to determine why my my spidey sense goes off on him. Cindy says, Angel, it took a long time to get it. 2-3 weeks. Interesting. Biden is a criminal. He is. He should go straight to jail. Straight to fuck the jail. I mean, he's committed treason. Have to kill me first says, good evening, Lockbeard. Welcome to Have to Kill Me First. Chessmore says, Lock, there are 438 agencies in the government. No, well, that's the upper level. There's more below that. There's so much. There are so many. It's crazy. It's insane. Yeah, that's just the first. That's just like if you start counting all the little agents, everything. I mean, it's insane. And I think I talked last time on the live stream about how I didn't like how they were making these agencies that were kind of considered independent from the executive branch. That was one thing that I would do. Is first thing, executive order. Every single agency in the federal government needs to be brought back under the executive office, under the executive branch. You can't have independent. We have 3 branches of government, God damn it. And so every piece of the government needs to be under one of those 3 branches. So, no, there can't be independent agencies. That's fucking bullshit. So, have to kill me first. Saying hello to everybody. Yeah, Angel says to Cindy, Biden is criminal but controls the ones investigating the whole alphabet. Yeah, evil. Mild term for those bastards. Yeah, 100%. Hunter is riding on Air Force One. He should be in jail. Yeah, what the fuck is he? I mean, this is the fucking clown world. It's a clown world. We've got Hunter Biden's hanging out in the White House. Yeah, I don't know much about his baby mama, the little baby he isn't acknowledging as his child. I'll tell you what. If the people support me, President Salisbury, 2028 election, I will invite Hunter's baby mama and that child to stay at the White House, at least for a little while, just to piss the Bidens off. I'll say, the Bidens may not have acknowledged that this child was part of their family, but this child is still part of the American family. And fuck Hunter. Fuck Hunter. She's going to get to hang out in the White House at least for a little while. I don't know if they'll let me. I don't have a family. Will they let them stay there the whole presidency? I mean, I guess I'm the president. I can do what the fuck I want. Hey, let's have a vote on that. If I'm elected president in 2028, should I invite Hunter's baby mama and his daughter that he and Joe, Granddaddy Joe, will not acknowledge to stay in the White House for my entire presidency? Cindy Finn says, Chess, I don't want to get Lockbeard in trouble, but I agree wholeheartedly. Well, I mean, you heard some of the shit I said. I mean, this is Rumble. This ain't going on YouTube. This is on Rumble. You can pretty much say whatever the fuck. I mean, you can't make. I mean, if it's a violation of the law, like you can't make a criminal threat upon the life of the president. Only thing I'm saying is when you've committed, if someone else committed the crimes he's had, our law enforcement agencies would be kicking down some fucking doors. And treason is a very serious crime that can at times be punished with execution. You get your day in court, and then you go to the firing squad because you committed treason. And on a massive level, holy shit, this fucker, I mean, this is insane. He committed, I mean, that's not even, I'm not even talking about the election fraud coup. where he seized power of our nation illegally. I mean, this motherfucker is one of the greatest criminals in the history of the United States. Holy shit. Chessboard says, Cindy Fan left my ass hit. He gets himself there. He don't need help. Cindy says, look what they're doing to Kennedy. Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying, man. Donald Trump, if you're out there, as much as I would like you to not to appoint Rand Paul as your vice president, I'd prefer Ron Paul. Ron Paul is fucking awesome. If Donald Trump drops dead, Ron Paul would be a top notch, the very best we got to offer right now that I'm aware of for a president, an American president, a constitutional president, a man who can be a Christian and not try to impose Christianity on the whole damn nation. See, that's what pissed a lot of Christians off. See, a lot of Christians have no problem violating the liberty of the people in the name of their religion. We are not a theocracy. This is not a Christian nation. This is a nation in which a lot of Christians live. But everyone else has freedom of expression too, and freedom of religion. So you have to recognize that. And a lot of Christians, they want to violate the Constitution and make the government do Christian stuff to violate the rights of people who aren't Christian. You can't do that. You have to. This goes two ways, and Ron Paul understands that. He's like, you can't make policy that enforces Christian doctrine on your average citizen. You can't do that. It's unconstitutional. It's not what you're supposed to do in America. We have freedom of religion. It protects the Christians and it protects everybody else, no matter how much it pisses off the Christians. The Christians don't understand. Some of them start acting like Muslims sometimes, because Muslims, they don't give a fuck. They'll take your right to your religious freedom away in a second if they get a chance. And there are some Christians that want to do that. So, and I think that's why Ron Paul didn't get as much support, is because some Christians want a guy that'll stand up there and say whatever the fuck they want him to say. We're gonna do this and impose Christianity on people. Basically, is what it amounts to. But yeah, it's just remember we used to YouTube, so you don't know how far Rumble. Let's check go. How far? Yeah, Rumble lets go pretty far. I don't even know. I don't even think they got chatbots. Have to kill me. He says, I can't stand Bernie, but he got screwed too. Yeah, Bernie got screwed too. That's why we need to be talking to those Democrats, those Bernie Democrats. Say, look, because what happened? They said they weren't going to vote Bernie, but a lot of them did anyway. Or they weren't going to vote Democrat after that, but they did anyway. Everyone, they just immediately, because they're so afraid of the other party winning. Stop it. Go to a third party. Maybe listen to the Libertarian Party ideals. You might find that you're not as much of a hardcore Democrat as you think. You might find you agree with some of the Libertarian policies. So, but they didn't. But maybe there's some Democrats that can be reached there. So look, Democrat Party betrayed you. Jump party, guys. Go to the third party. Have to kill me says, I can't stand Bernie, but he got screwed too and didn't have the balls to say anything. Yeah. At the end of the day, he had no nuts. Fell right in line where he belonged. Donald's here. Welcome. Cindy says, I got into it with our local RNC and backing Trump. Yeah. Well, like I mentioned on the last live stream, I was not in this area at the time, but a family member was a delegate, and the delegates had it. It was Ron Paul, 2012, but the I guess the chair, whatever, called it for. I think they did Santorum, but anyway, they they cheated the Ron Paul voters out of their because they had it. And I've been trying to find hopefully that someone had video of the room. If someone had video of the room and we could show evidence that this happened, man, they committed election fraud in this town in eastern Oklahoma. The RNC probably say, well, we can do whatever we want. It's crazy. Chessboard says Ron Paul got it when he started talking about the robber barons. Angels, everybody saying hi to Donald. Kind of expecting a third party to emerge. I hope so. Libertarian Party hopefully comes up, but not. I can't remember that bitch from last time. She was a bad choice. Libertarian Party really screwed that choice up. And Gary Johnson wasn't a good choice either. The prior election, he wasn't a good choice either. Kind of expecting a third party to emerge. I live in Vermont. Bernie did all right in some political positions here. Chessboard, but not sure how close we are. Hillary was smoking Obama before they both went to Bilderberg. I could see a Trump RFK ticket. I'm not a big fan of either one of those guys. There's some flaws in both of them. Like, keep RFK away from environmental shit, please. He's going to fuck it up. Okay? He's going to fuck it up. Hopefully keep him away from guns, because even though he's tried to placate the pro-gun crowd, I have a feeling he'll find a way to fuck it up. But his position on vaccines is getting him a lot of support, and the Democrats would do good to embrace RFK wholeheartedly and stop being dipshits about the vaccine stuff, because the Democrats are being dipshits. Like, no needle shall ever touch my skin again, because at this point I can't trust the medical industry at all. I don't know what kind of poisons they're putting in those needles of any kind now. Of any kind. I can't trust them. If I get injured and there's something that requires a needle to go into my skin, I guess I'm going to just fucking die, because I can't trust the medical industry. They're corrupt. They just helped a corrupt government ran by corrupt billionaires to commit a genocide of millions of people across the globe. We can't trust them. We should tear down the hospitals at this point and start over. Drag out all their administrators. See, Trump RFK ticket. I mean, they just murdered everybody. They just murdered a bunch of people. Cindy says RFK Jr. is a viable candidate. Yeah, he might actually give Trump a close run if the Democrats nominate him. But Republican, RFK Jr., Republican, I mean, it's kind of crazy because RFK Jr. is a Democrat. But you know what? If Donald Trump, Donald Trump's got the Republican ticket. Republicans, even though a lot of Republicans might have a lot of reservations about RFK Jr. as his running mate, they will still vote Donald Trump. And a bunch of Democrats will come over and vote Donald Trump too, because let's be real, Donald Trump's got a lot of Democrat in him himself. And a lot of people in the middle will vote for him. It will be a landslide, the likes of which you have never seen. Chessboard says politics was never meant to be a permanent job. It was supposed to be a service to your country. How do you become a millionaire on $170,000 a year of salary? Think about that. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Cindy says, exactly, Chess, they currently get too much for what they don't do. Chessboard says, LOCKBEARD, there was an article today about them acknowledging the baby. Are they actually going to acknowledge the baby now? I'm going to steal your baby mama, Hunter, you fucking cracked out motherfucker. What happened to the crypto show? It went south. I don't know. We'll get back to it in a second. I'm going to try and catch up in the chat. I don't know. The chat's gone wild. Anyone you invite can stay in White House. Yeah. So you think that's a good plan? Angela says, for for that election, he was the lesser of two evils. No way he could vote for Hillary. No way you could vote for Hillary. Yeah, no way. Cindy says, does anyone think the dude in the hearings saying there are alien bodies a distraction? Yeah, I mean, I'm skeptical about a lot of the stuff they're talking about. These three guys could be they could have just been fed a bunch of crap information because these guys, well, the guy in the middle, Brush, he could be just fed a bunch of information. He could be a kind of a, a patsy kind of situation or getting used to push a certain narrative. Donald says, I don't get the adult children living with their families in the White House with their father president. I personally, if I put yourself in that position, if I was president and my family was okay with staying there, all of my adult family, all of them, I would feel safer with them being there. It'd be a lot easier for the Secret Service to protect everybody, I think. And because if you got family members all different places, there's crazy motherfuckers out there, man. So I'd feel safer if they all were there or in some other very secure location, but yeah. But Hunter, man, he should be in a very secure place called a jail right now. Chess just there, racist Donald, whose coke was found in the White House. Cindy Angela says, Donald, they are trying to keep Hunter out of the spotlight. If he was out running around, imagine the pictures that would be shown. And he's full of it. He has zero direct evidence. It's all he said, she said bullshit. They're trying to blame Kamala. Like with whose coke it was. The building has more cameras than Nikon and Canon combined. Yeah, they know exactly who it is. Absolutely chessboard. Whole UFO hearings are a distraction. Well, I mean, there's definitely, UFOs are definitely a real thing. It's just, are these guys, is Fravor really, is he for real? I mean, I feel like he might be for real. And Grush might believe he's for real and he's getting misled. I don't know. And I don't really know about the guy on the left. I don't really know. Maybe it was hers. Some number discussing earlier. DC thinks we're all stupid. Heard the toilets. Make sure this is on. There we go. Can't get that over there. I need to switch this around because that's a problem. Heard the toilets have cameras. Watch for prison packages. Hearings this week. Donald says, is Lockbeard ignoring me? No, I'm so far behind in chat. Donald, I think he's way behind in chat. Yeah, buffering again. Here we go. Try to keep up. DNC better grow some balls because they will back Biden. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know you were yet. I didn't realize the chat's going crazy. I can't keep up. Rain, internet slow. Oh, shit. It jumped on me. Where was I at? Here I was. See, rain, so internet slower. Dimsys and Biden is a pawn for their BS and lies. Just for the Senate, I sent you and Lock how to make $40 billion working at home. What the fuck? Donald says, mine's been terrible last 2 days. Pelosi must be involved. Chessboard. Some cash, thank you. Whatever happened to that spy balloon smoke and mirrors? Well, they actually bring that up in the hearings. We might end up having to go 3 hours because, fuck, we're almost to 2 hours in and barely scratched the surface of this deal.
And you could put that anywhere. If you had one, you captured one, you reverse engineered it, you got it to work, You're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave. And there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing.
Okay, you two?
Well, I would also like to add, from a commercial aviation and military aviation perspective, we deal with uncertainty in our operating space as a matter of our professional actions. Identifying friend from foe is very important to us. And so when we have unidentified targets and we continue to ignore those due to a stigma or a fear of what it could be, that's an opening that our adversaries can take advantage of.
What steps should be taken to better understand and respond to UAP encounters in the interest of national security?
There needs to be a location where this information is centralized for processing, and there needs to be a two-way communication loop so the operators on the front end have a feedback and can get best practices on how to process information, what to do, and to ensure that their reporting is being listened to. Right now, there is not a lot of back and forth.
Mr. Grush, in your complaint to the Intelligence Community Inspector General, you claim that you believe information is being hidden. What kind of information do you think was hidden, and do you think it should remain hidden?
Yes, I can speak to that very briefly in unclassified manner. As you know, the preponderance of my complaint was classified to the intelligence communities. Both material acquisition and exploitation activity, also baselining the UAPs, but not sharing it with, intelligence professionals that are actually doing step briefs to pilots, that kind of information. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll go to Mr. Garcia.
Thank you. Again, thank you all for your service and for testifying today. Want to just talk about UAPs as it relates to what we're seeing in the pilots' interaction with UAPs. Particularly, Mr. Graves, one of the, I think, concerns from members of this committee is this idea that pilots, there's no system to actually report UAPs and the stigma around pilots. And so can you just briefly, you mentioned that you're working with 30 pilots right now that have had encounters with UAPs, but you've also, I believe, discussed and know of many more pilots. This is just those that you're currently working with. Is that correct? Can you expand on that?
Certainly. I'll break that down in two ways. First, when we were first experiencing these objects off the eastern seaboard in the 2014 to 2015 time period, anyone that had upgraded their radar systems were seeing these objects. So there was a large number of my colleagues that were detecting these objects off the eastern seaboard. They were further correlating that information with their other onboard sensors, and many of them also had their own eye sightings as well of these objects. Now, that was our personal firsthand experience at the time. Since then, as I've engaged this topic, others have reached out to me to share their experiences, both on the military side as well as the commercial aviation side. On the military aviation side, veterans that have recently got out have shared their stories and have expressed how the objects we were seeing in 2014, 2015 continued all the way to 2019, 2020, and beyond. And so it became a generational issue for naval aviators on the eastern seaboard. This was something we were briefing to new students. This is something that was included in the notice to airmen to ensure that there was no accidents. And now with commercial aviators, they are reaching out because they're having somewhat similar experiences as our military brothers and sisters, but they do not have any reporting system that they can send us to.
And let me just add, both to Mr. Fravor as well as Mr. Graves, not having the system for reporting, would you both agree that it's harmful to not just our national security interests, but to understand this phenomenon of what's happening with UAPs?
I think it's actually a travesty that we don't have a system to correlate this and actually investigate. So if you took the East Coast, there's coastal radars out there that monitor our air defense identification zone, so out to 200 miles. They can track these, so when you see them, they could actually go and pull that data and get maneuvering. And instead of just having the airplanes, there's other data sources out there. And I've talked to other government officials on this. So you need a centrally located repository that these reports go to. So if you just stuck it in DOD, you wouldn't get anything out of the Intelligence Committee because they have a tendency to not to talk. But if you had a central location where these reports would come in, not just military, but also commercial aviation, because there's a lot of that going on, especially if you talk to anyone that flies from here to Hawaii or the Pacific, they see odd lights. So I think you need to develop something that allows you a central point to collect the data in order to investigate.
Mr. Graves?
I will concur with everything Mr. Fravor said. I'll continue to say that the commercial pilots that have reached out to me through Americans for Safe Aerospace are doing so because they don't feel there's another way for them to report this safety issue.
And I think one of the clear outcomes of this hearing already is that there has to be a safe and transparent reporting process for pilots, both on the commercial side and the military side, to be able to report UAPs in a way that's also transparent, but also understands the scope of our national security interests and what may be classified or not. But I think there has to be some sort of system. And so that's something that I hope can be an outcome that this committee can work on. Is there anything else for just the two of you briefly beyond this reporting system that you think that we can do as a government to encourage and facilitate more civilian reporting?
We're doing it right now.
Okay, great.
I think this hearing is going to show the American people that their government takes this topic seriously.
And how about civilians that may not be pilots? What kind of process could be in place for civilians who are not pilots, who may have UAP encounters? Do either of you have any suggestions that could facilitate that?
My recommendations would be to make that a sensor-centric operation in order to make it as objective as possible.
Okay. Sir, Mr. Favor?
No, I agree with Mr. Graves on that.
Okay. Just briefly, I also just want to note, particularly for the two pilots, and I have a question for Mr. Grush. One of the things that I found fascinating in our discussion, Mr. Graves, last night as well, is that you both described UAPs and formations and the way they are observed in space or in our air, and the way that they move is essentially ways in which current technology or aircraft that we know of are unable to actually function or move. And so will you just, for the public record, again, once again, just briefly just either describe or note that aircraft that we witness, particularly by the 30 folks that you're working with, are essentially outside the scope of anything that we know of today and the technology we have today. Mr. Graves, Mr. Favor?
Yes, the objects that are being seen by commercial pilots are performing maneuvers that are unexplainable due to our current understanding of our technology and our capabilities as a country. And that applies for the military as well.
Mr. Favor?
Yeah, I concur with that. We have nothing that can stop in midair and go the other direction, nor do we have anything that can, like in our situation, come down from space, hang out for 3 hours, and go back up.
Thank you. My last question, and sometimes I know that you have also said some of these answers in the past, but we're trying to get them on the public record as well, which is really important. Mr. Gresh, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General and some of which to the intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the firsthand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I would just say that I think that these questions are important questions, and I look forward to being involved in the process to get those answered. I know there'll be a lot of questions for the committee members, so I yield back.
One thing I was really tired of hearing in this whole hearing, was all the things that he could not answer without going into the skiff. It's secure room, no cell phones, blah, blah, blah. That apparently they're being denied the use of for some reason. Anyway, but so there's a whole bunch of information he's not allowed to give, blah, blah, blah. It's getting old. And then I think it was Fravor that mentioned that too much bullshit is classified. It shouldn't be classified. All kinds of stuff surrounding this shouldn't be classified, but the government has to keep everything secret. No, this isn't classified. Blow it wide open. We need to know where the technology comes from, who they are, so on and so forth. We need to know everything. Which companies are in possession of the technology under government contracts, and we need to be able to dig in deep and figure out, who all's been using the technology on the behalf of whoever is in control of the technology, government or otherwise, and what they've been doing with it. Because if they've been actually trafficking people and drugs and guns, but my biggest concern is the people, because they're being trafficked for slavery, child sex slavery in a lot of cases, or just being used for organ harvesting. They're being murdered. They're killing people. They're using this technology to murder people. And it needs to be stopped, and the people responsible brought to a very grisly end in a firing squad execution after an appropriate trial. Because we are, law and order, so on and so forth. Let's check the chat icons over here, rolling in here. 2 hours in, you're damn right. 2 hours in. Is he going on about being on for 2 hours already? Yeah, we've been on for 2 hours, man. It's hot out here. You need some cheese to go with that wine, sir. Donald can hook you with the good shit. Oh, hell, I can get that shit down here at Walmart, man. I can get that shit, that super sharp Vermont. It's good stuff. Cindy says, hey, remember dude that attacked Mr. Pelosi and the dude was at January 6th, and what bullshit happened there? Something isn't right there. Yeah. Can you speak a little faster so I can understand? Well, I got to sped up a little bit, not a whole lot, just to help us get through it faster because we don't have time. It's over 2 hours long as it is. The hearing was, and there's a lot more to come. For sure. Donald says, "All right, I kind of trying to get my less than 100 mile 2019 Suzuki King Quad 750 running. It's too long. I think the injector's effed." Some more people besides Angel and Chessboard and I in here. Yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. All right, let's jump in there. I don't have timestamps for the better parts, but
And we'll get together on that. Maybe you can be my co-sponsor on that. That'd be really cool. Thank you for those great questions. Mr. Graves, again, I'd like to know, how do you know that these were not our aircraft?
Some of the behaviors that we saw in a working area, we would see these objects being at 0.0 Mach, that's 0 airspeed, over certain pieces of the ground. So what that means, just like a river, if you throw a bobber in, it's going to float downstream. These objects were staying completely stationary in Category 4 hurricane winds. These same objects would then accelerate to supersonic speeds, 1.1, 1.2 Mach. And they would do so in very erratic and quick behaviors that I don't have an explanation for.
Okay. Have you spoken to commercial and military pilots that have seen these off of our East Coast?
I have.
Okay. Mr. Favor, I noticed that in the Tic Tac video, it's Tic Tac like the candy, not TikTok like the Chinese Communist app.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. I just want to make that because my daughter corrected me on that and called me a boomer and said, "Hey, boomer." And I said, "No, baby, it's Tic Tac like the candy. You're going to have to just look it up." And but I would also like to say today is a day of many firsts. It's a miracle that we're having this meeting, and it's also a miracle that my wife has put up with me for 9 years today. Today is my anniversary, so I want to tell my wife happy anniversary and that I love her very much. As she likes to say, this 9 years have been the best 2 years of her life. So thank you. Mr. Favor, what astonished you the most about the flight capabilities of these Tic Tac, very briefly?
The performance, absolute performance. It was.
And you're not aware of any other objects that anybody in the world has in this world that has those capabilities?
No, I think it's far beyond actually our material science that we currently possess.
Are you aware of any other reconnaissance platforms that have tracked or recorded the Tic Tac's maneuvers, maybe the NORAD system or any of the others?
I am not.
Okay. Mr. Grush, thank you for being here, brother. Thank you all very much. Have you faced any retaliation or reprisals for any of your testimony or anything on these lines?
Yeah, I have to be careful what I say in detail because there is an open whistleblower reprisal investigation on my behalf, and I don't want to compromise that investigation by providing anything that may help provide somebody information. But it was very brutal and very unfortunate, some of the tactics they used to hurt me both professionally and personally, to be quite frank. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. As they say, when you're over the target, that's when they do the most firing at you. Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes. Personally.
Have anyone been murdered that you would think that you know of or have heard of, I guess?
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
Maybe in a, if we could get in a confidential area, skiff, we could talk about that. But unfortunately, we were denied access to the skiff, and that's very unfortunate in this scenario. Mr. Favor, you believe that you witnessed an additional object under the water in relation to your encounter?
I will say we did not see an object. There was something there to cause the whitewater, and when we turned around, it was gone. So there was something there that obviously moved.
Okay, it was not the same object though that you were looking at, correct?
No, we actually joked that the Tic Tac was communicating with something. When when we came back, and because the whitewater disappeared.
We were, in another instance, we're told about the capabilities of a jamming during viewing of when there were some people chasing some of these objects. Did you experience any of that jamming or interrupting your radar or weapons system?
My crew that launched after we landed experienced significant jamming to the APG-73 radar, which was what we had on board, which is a mechanically scanned, very high-end system prior to the APG-79. And yes, it did pretty much everything you could do: range, velocity, aspect, and then it hit the lock, and the targeting pod is passive. That's what we were able to get the video on.
I'm about to run out of time, but are you aware of any of our enemies that have that capability?
No.
Okay, I would also like to note for the record that, like George Knapp breaking Area 51, he's the reason I knew about that, and the reason I know about the Tic Tacs is Leslie Keene, New York Times article, and I would encourage everybody to read that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back to you for no time.
Very good. Mr. Raskin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Graves, you reported UAP encounters during training flights, I think, and have since come forward to warn the Pentagon that these encounters may be putting pilots at risk. My first question is, you've identified these as taking place on the East Coast. Is it just on the East Coast where these encounters have been reported?
No, since the events initially occurred, I've learned that the objects have been detected essentially where all operations, Navy operations are being conducted across the world. And that's from the All-Domain Anomaly Resolutions Office reporting.
All right, can you describe your experience after you decided to come forward and go public with your experience?
Certainly. Like many others, in 2017, I saw the New York Times article come out as well. And for me, it was special because I recognized the voices on the video. I recognized the video itself. I had seen it when it was taken. I'd seen it when it was debriefed. And so that was kind of shook me because I realized that this problem was still ongoing. And so I reached out to colleagues back on the East Coast and realized that this was still a safety risk that they were dealing with, that they had essentially hit a wall with how they could move forward on this conversation. It was at that point when I decided to try to move the conversation forward myself.
Are there common characteristics to the UAPs that have been cited by different pilots? And can you describe what the convergence of descriptions is?
Certainly. We were primarily seeing dark gray or black cubes inside of a clear sphere.
I'm sorry, dark gray or black cubes?
Yes, inside of a clear sphere, where the apex or tips of the cube were touching the inside of that sphere. And that was primarily what was being reported when we were able to gain a visual tally of these objects. And that occurred over almost 8 years. And as far as I know, it's still occurring.
So I take it that you're arguing what we need is real transparency in a reporting system so we can get some clarity on what's going on out there, because there are many pilots in your situation, but we should have a way of developing a systematic inventory of all of such encounters. Is that right?
Yes, and I think we need both transparency and the reporting. We have the reporting, but we need to make sure that information can be promulgated to commercial aviation as well as the rest of the populace.
Mr. Grush, what about you? What was your experience after you came forward?
Well, it's only been about 2 months or so, so I guess my experience has been overwhelming support from former colleagues of mine that have privately messaged me, and I do appreciate that. But I do have knowledge of active planned reprisal activity against myself and other colleagues, and it's very, very upsetting to me.
Coming from where?
Certain senior leadership at previous agencies I was associated with. And that's all I'll say publicly, but I can provide more details in a closed environment.
Okay. Well, I hope you understand that there would be bipartisan rejection of any attempt to vilify, demonize, or engage in other reprisals against our witnesses and people who are telling the truth from their perspective.
Yeah, there were certain colleagues of mine that were brutally administratively attacked. And it actually makes me very upset as a leader to see that happen to other coworkers and actually superiors of mine over the last 3 years.
How do you account for that response? That seems like a bizarre response.
I call it administrative terrorism. That's their quiver, their tool in the toolbox to silence people, especially the career government service cares about the career, cares about their clearance, their reputation, climb the ladder. And when you threaten that career path, a lot of people back off. But I'm here to represent those people. So.
Mr. Fravor, what about you? What has your experience been since you've come forward with your perspective on this?
Actually, I've been treated very well. And the 6 people that were involved, myself included, All of them have or will be retiring from the military as 05s or 06s. And all my friends that are very senior, 3 and 4 stars, I've talked to them. They believe, they understand there's a problem, but no, I was actually treated really well.
And what is your general interpretation of these phenomena, or what is your current thinking of trying to make sense of them?
Well, I'll say, you know, I'm not like a UFO fanatic. It's not me. But I will tell you that what we saw with 4 sets of eyes over a 5-minute period, still, there's nothing, we have nothing close to it. It was amazing to see. I told my buddy I wanted to fly it, but yeah, it's just an incredible technology.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'll yield back to you.
Thanks.
Let's go check the chat out real quick. Chessboard says, Lockbeard in those in Washington think the general public are chimneys. They keep blowing smoke up your ass. Yep. Donald says, I heard they have had wings out there, Icon. Yeah, Donald and Icon apparently having a quad talk session there. Little mechanics going down in the chat. Don't want to destroy it. Saw a guy. Donald says, when I first saw that guy, I thought I thought he was being a smartass with a designer tinfoil hat. Nah, man, that's Braskin. That's a dipshit fucking Democrat fucking moron. I hate to be so hard on Democrats, but the Democrat Party deserves no mercy at this point for supporting all kinds of terroristic activity, for conducting a election fraud coup and stealing the leadership of the nation. They have illegally occupied the White House. Our nation is occupied by enemies of the people. And the Democrat Party has made it very clear that they're in support of child sex trafficking and pedophiles. They want pedophiles to become a legit sexual orientation. I can tell you that's never going to fucking happen. So y'all might want to like go move to Epstein's Island and wait for the torpedoes to fly, because they're probably coming. Anyway, Democrat Party, evil domestic terrorist organization at this point, as far as I am concerned. So they're not going to get any leeway with me. And if I'm ever elected president, I'm not shaking any of you fucks' hands. And I'll tell you right to your fucking face, I do not shake the hands of domestic terrorist scum. Fuck off. Get the fuck away from me. My appointments will aggressively remove Democrats wherever I can. They're fucking gone. They cannot be trusted. If you're a registered Democrat, you cannot be trusted. You're unreasonable, despicable trash. Sorry. You're choosing a party. You're continuing to choose a party that has done so much evil. You guys claim that you want people to think that, oh, Republicans want to blow up kids. You guys blow up all the fucking kids. You do it. How many kids have died over here in this little conflict that you're sending our money to support this little conflict between Ukraine and Russia? It'd be over by now if we weren't helping them. It'd be over. But it's all about making money for Democrat buddies and corrupt Republican buddies. So, but it's Democrats' heavy corruption, man. They have gone completely off the deep end. They should be formally designated a terrorist organization for their actions and their violations of the law in so many different ways. There's so many different ways they violated the law, and thus no longer no longer suitable for any kind of leadership. But yeah, he's wearing a bandana though. Raskin's wearing a bandana because he cannot own his bald head. You see those men sitting there with bald or balding heads all around them, really. But like even the witnesses there, the whistleblowers, they're owning it because real men just kind of they live with the fact that they're bald and they can, you know, be just fine. But Raskin is a very self-conscious little Democrat bitch, so he won't take off that stupid bandana because he can't deal with it. He can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. Some people no longer have a wrench. No longer have a wrench. Icon says we had roughly 40-mile-per-hour winds. Smackdown system. Half-inch hail. Emoji. You need a chessboard. That emoji is I am a member and give LOCKBEARD money monthly. Thank you for that, by the way, Donald. Oh no, that's fine. You talk about what you want in chat, man. Talk about what you want. Mechanic hour in the chat. We're multitasking up in here. Imagine if somebody pulls their broke down U.F.O. into Donald's driveway, he might be able to fix that too. Icon says, did they have wrenches on? I don't know. I never thought about it. Manage, muted loot, mute user. Well, I don't want to. Hold on a second. I got something messed up here. Did I kick off the? All right, there we go. I lost the chat for a second there. Yeah, I see y'all can't, with this layout, you can't see the whole damn chat. So let me, is it worth it to switch it to this maybe? Yeah. All right, got the chat back up. Where were we at? Yeah, it doesn't look like they have moderators here, I guess. But I mean, I guess who needs them if you're not like I can? It looks like I can time out or block someone, but I guess they just leave it up to the individual. I imagine all of you guys can do that for yourselves if you see someone in the, you know, if there's a troll in the chat, you can just block them for yourself, which is probably just the way to just handle everything across the damn internet for the most part. You run across a spam bot or whatever, just block them. You know, just block them. Other people might like watching the spam bots. I don't know. But it doesn't look like they do that here. Donald says, is it true Clinton went 36 times to Epstein's Island? I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it, though. You know, if they come out and reported that. Icon says, you're not going to be an ugly baby kisser, Achaeos? Yeah. You know, I'll probably get the opposite criticism because I don't generally, you know, I don't know. I don't do kids very well. Like, I don't know what to do with this thing. I was like, let me go. No, let me know when it grows up and gets a fucking a college diploma so I can communicate with it. Because right now I can't communicate with the fucking thing. You know, I can't. I don't know how to. Like, I've never raised my own kids really. Um, the only time I lived in a home where my, like, I lived in, I don't know, I think I lived with her for a year and a half. She had a teenage daughter, and there were a couple other teenage girls that were friends of hers whose families were kind of fucked up. So they just kind of stayed with us. And even then, I didn't know what the fuck to do. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? You know, they just kind of do what the fuck they want, and they can pretty much take care of themselves. And there was a situation. There was another one, another friend of theirs that was there a lot too. So we were on the verge of, well, almost five. Like, a lot of times there'd be five. It's really sad. A lot of all these young ladies, there was some degree of some kind of, you know, issues at home. And there was one situation where one of them, I hope she found her way. But I ended up having to go pick her up at the airport because she was trying to go to her mom, and her mom didn't want her, and she had been living with her grandparents, and her grandparents didn't want her. And I don't know what the deal was. My entire interaction with this girl over that entire period of time is she was just the sweetest little girl, and I don't know why her family didn't want her. And what ended up happening was my girlfriend got her mom to sign over. Um, I forget what the wording is for it, but basically parental rights to her. And so I don't know. Me and my girlfriend, things didn't work out, and I ended up leaving. So, but you know, that was the only, you know, it's just a lot of our young women are getting fucked up by fucked up families. And there was a variety of different problems in these little girls' families. Two of them had fathers that committed suicide. It's just fucking nuts. Let me say this to any fathers out there that are contemplating suicide. If you're a father, you don't have a right to, like, if you don't have kids and you don't have any family and you want to check out, you know what, go do what you want to do. But if you have kids, you do not have a fucking right to check out. That fucks that kid up. That fucks that kid up for life. You do not, and you have a responsibility to look after that child for the rest of your fucking life. And I'm not talking about just until they leave at 18 the house. You have a responsibility to be the backup, the family, the father, the grandfather when that child has their own kids, and to provide a cohesive family unit for the rest of your life. Even if your child dies before you and there's other family, her or his, you know, children, your grandchildren, you need to be there to provide some of the backbone of that family. You do not have a right to commit suicide. So that's just, you could see it in these children that it fucked them up. But that was so anyway, didn't mean to take on a depressing, the closest to being a father of any kind and that I've been in is these 3 to 5 teenage girls that lived in our house. Well, when I first moved in, I think some of them were still 12, but they were 12 to 14 range, roughly 12 to 15 when I was there. And it was, you know, and there wasn't really anything much for me to do. Like I might take them places sometimes and whatnot, but you know, that's it. But and I just tried to, like, best I could figure is just for me to just be there, you know. I mean, that's half of parenting, isn't it? Just fucking be there. You know, if they need you, you're there. You know, you're not down at the goddamn bar drinking. You know, you're yeah. So, but I don't think I ever once hugged any of these girls. Like I don't, I'm not a touchy feely person with hardly anybody really. I don't like shaking hands, you know. So, so people are probably gonna look at me. They're like, "Hey, here's my baby. You want to hold my baby?" And I'm gonna be like, "No, I don't want to hold your fucking baby." And they're gonna have the opposite complaint about me. They're gonna be like, "This guy's an asshole. He don't want to hold the baby." No, I don't want to hold the babies. You hold the baby. I might drop him. I don't know. What if he spits up on me? This is a nice suit. I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm sure I'd be fine holding people's babies, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, Biden. There's something wrong with Biden. Like he be sniffing little girls and shit, and I think he, like with that baby you're talking about the other day. Like he started nibbling on that baby. I think he forgot he wasn't in one of those fucking cult meetings that the elite have where they eat babies. He was about ready to eat that fucking baby, like for real, eat the fucking baby. I think the reason why he's always sniffing girls. He's senile. He doesn't realize he's on Epstein's island where he regularly sniffed cocaine off of little girls. He's expecting to get some cocaine off. There's got to be some cocaine in her hair somewhere. That mother. Anyone listening out there, if you're anywhere near Biden, stand between him and your child. Okay, don't let him anywhere near your fucking kid. All right, that guy, there's something wrong with him, and and yeah, yeah. I'm not kissing any babies, man. Those things are nasty. Babies are nasty. Like I have there's a baby. We have a, you know, family member, new baby in the family. I think we just fist bumped. And that's about it. Or like he grabbed my finger or something, but that's as good as I can't I that's all I got in me. All right, I'm sorry. Donald said, Angela says, Donald, I wouldn't doubt that at all. 36 times. Yeah, he probably was there more than that. They probably didn't document them all. Someone said it on this podcast somewhere. Chessboard says, Donald, seems like they are releasing a name a week that has ties to Epstein. They know how the game is played. Angela says, Chessboard, I suspect some big names will be on that list. Oh, yeah. Why is so much the... Get that up there. There we go. There's where we need to be. Hit the nail on the head. Yeah. I'd have to reverse engineer it first, Lockbeard. Oh, the U.F.O, yeah. Or crap, blackmailed them on that J. Edgar dead. Donald says, that's it, Lockbeard hates babies. He's up for the independent presidential ticket. I don't hate babies. I think it's just better, like, I mean, seriously, I don't care if he is the president. your baby knows your face and know so if you're handing your baby to some stranger, your baby's like, what the fuck? I mean, the baby's probably terrified. Don't, especially look at me. Don't hand your baby to me. Your baby's probably like, what the fuck is this shit? It's a monster. Why is my mommy handing me the mom? The baby don't know me. And the baby's never gonna know me. There's no point in even introducing the baby to me. You know. Yeah. So you bring your baby recognizes faces. So when you bring a baby around someone new and that person's gonna be around, the baby needs to get to know the person. And sure, you let the baby you're standing there, you're talking to the person, you're holding the baby for a while until the baby gets a chance to realize, okay, this person's okay, this is a new face, and I need to start recognizing this face. And your baby, you'd be cool. You don't just walk up to some strange person and hand your baby to them. We're like, holy shit, I'm being sold for the organ harvesting. See, Leon Black was on last Wednesday. Donald Fuller says, Lockbeard, that was the thing that hurt the most when my fiance and I called it quits. I took her son as my own. I love that kid. I hated her at the end. Yeah, man. The kids get fucked up. That's why, divorce happens too fucking easily. Like, back in the day, you had to make it fucking work for the most part. You might even hate each other and sleep in separate beds. But when you left the bedroom, the kids didn't know. They didn't know. Like, you tried to keep it, you didn't expose the kids to that because both parents of that child should recognize that it damaged the kid psychologically. You do not expose the kid to y'all's dysfunctional relationship, or just decide, look, we're just not going to be dysfunctional. We're just going to go through the motions, act like we're a loving couple, and just fucking do what we're supposed to do. We made the choice to make a kid together. Game's over. You don't get to just jump and jump and jump and jump. That's not what you didn't used to be that way. The whole community be like, "What the fuck are you doing? You made a kid over here, and you're jumping over to this other woman, or a woman. It was worse for a woman. You didn't have the option. Not at least not near as much as you do now. Now people just do this and they fuck these kids up. These kids need a mom and a dad. So either don't make the kid, or if you do make a kid, recognize you have signed over your rights to just do whatever the fuck you want. You have a responsibility to the kid. So, no, she wouldn't let you have anything to do with him after. Yeah. It's crazy. And these single moms, they'll get with a guy and then they'll fuck that up because they don't know how to be a proper wife. They never did. That's how come they fucked up the baby's daddy. With the baby's daddy. And then their kid, every time their kid starts to get to know a new dude, she dumps him. So she keeps tearing her kids' lives apart. She's only thinking about herself. It's selfish. She's selfish. Women, they're doing this. They're selfish. They need to recognize that they don't have a right to do that. They're fucking up these kids' lives and setting them up for failure themselves in relationships when they grow up because they're gonna do what they know. So I don't know that there's any way of fixing this other than the complete collapse of society, to where the options kind of taken away for a lot of people to do that. Just for that, seen that. Donald says, Lockbeard, you're destroying your presidential chances. No, I have a feeling a lot of people fucking get it. I think after Joe Biden, a lot of people would just be happy as they probably won't give a fuck. They're just gonna be happy to have a president that ain't sniffing little girls and trying to eat babies. Don't got a son up in the White House leaving his cocaine all over the place. They're going to be extremely pleased, Donald. They're going to be extremely pleased. They'll be extremely pleased because I'll roll up on the IRS and say, you notice how you guys your funding got cut off? Yeah, because we're shutting you down. You don't have a right to enslave the American people, which is what income tax is. You cannot have income tax in fucking America. I'm sorry, you don't get that option. That's not how you get the tax. Person has to earn income to pay for their necessities. You took advantage of that as government. Now, what you need to do is you have a consumption tax at the state level, not the federal level, and then the states pay the government, the federal government, the amount of money necessary to function. Federal government directly taxing the people is bullshit in any case. And then tariffs, so part of it's consumption tax through the states to the federal government, and the other part's tariffs on incoming products from outside the United States. And then whatever we loot from nations in war, we should be able. That should be a totally legit thing. We roll in, we kick this people's ass because they piss us off for some reason, and we found their vault full of gold. Boom. Chessboard says, "Lock, show Angela how to make money at home. I don't gave her email." What'd you send me, a meme or something? I guess I could take a look here. Hold on a second. How to make 40 billion. Hold on a second. I see now. How to make $40 billion working from home. It's going to take me a second to set this up. All right. I think I got it. Hold on a second. Boom. Last month I made $40 billion working from home. Zelensky, stop wearing sweaters, man. Just saying, stop wearing sweaters. Stop it. Stop it. What did I do now? I clicked the wrong thing. All right, here we go. You don't. I assume you don't have her email. Donald says, "Oh crap! I missed a protest in California. The first responders media was streaming from a planned third trimester abortion clinic." Yeah. That's an issue. I mean, although we are overtime, we're overtime. Sorry for the people that are just here for paranormal stuff, but we tend to get off into a lot of politics. And the fact is politics has a lot to do with paranormal. The government knows shit about these things, and part of the search for the truth of paranormal matters, Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, any of this shit. Part of the battle here is to get control of our government for the purposes of unveiling that. And let me assure you, President Salisbury is going to do whatever is necessary to make that shit happen. I'll be all up in everybody's ass. I'm like, look, you guys are going to tell the truth to people. Definitely be calling up. I asked the tattooed monkey, I said, hey, if the president, because he always talks about, changing the education, the kids will learn a lot faster. I tried to ask him in the chat, if the president of the United States wanted to appoint you as Secretary of Education, would you take it? And all he said was, that'll never happen. Well, yeah, but I'd like to know, if you were offered, would you do it? Would you take the position? Because I have a feeling Tattooed Monkey would change the game. You know, if we gotta look at the transgender dude, lady, whatever, tattooed monkey's going to be really easy for everyone to swallow. Yeah, but third. So anyway, the third trimester abortion thing. Man. You know, the only look. The fact is if they get abortion in the first week, they're gonna try and push for abortion in the first 6 weeks, and if they get that, they're gonna try and push for the first trimester, and if they get that, they're going to push for the second trimester, and if they get that, they'll keep pushing until you just say fuck off. And you know, are you going to be able to hold that line? Because they're always going to keep trying pushing. So you need to somehow shut them down permanently. I don't know how you do that. You know, because next thing after the third trimester, they're going to say, oh, we need partial birth abortion. We're going to let the kid poke its head out the vagina, take a look at the world it isn't going to get to live in, then scramble its brain. And they've even got people out there that are advocating for termination of a baby after it is born. So, how do we fix this? You know, I don't know what to fix, because right now, like, what's a citizen? A citizen is a person born, right? So you got to be born to be a citizen. Is it possible to change this, though? Can we change it? Constitutional amendment defining a citizen as a person conceived. If we change it to a person conceived, well, now abortion is definitely illegal everywhere. Problem with that is you're going to have a bunch of people who want abortions anyway. This gets into a problem with it's a prohibition thing again. You got to be really, really selective about what you prohibit, because you don't have enough resources to get everything that you want to get. So if you're trying to control abortions over here, you got child traffickers slipping through your fingers over there. So, um, so I don't know. I don't know. You know what the solution is here. I guess the abortion battle is going to go on forever. But I think shaming them to some extent, to shutting them up, I'm like, because, you know, why do you want to do this? Like, look, lady, look. Your first choice was have sex or not have sex. So you had that choice. Your second choice was use a condom or don't use a condom. You can carry a fucking condom, lady. Don't require the guy. Don't rely on the guy to do it. You know, guy. You know, he's not the one that's got to carry the baby. He's a dumbass half the time anyway. You're a woman. You're pretty smart. Carry a fucking condom. And if the guy don't, and if you don't have one, and the guy don't have one, go buy one. And if he's not willing to go get one, and you're not willing to go get one, don't fuck. But if you do choose to have sex, and you chose not to use a condom, and you're not on birth control pill, you chose not to do that. There's a third choice. You choose not to use a morning after pill. So there's a fourth choice. You know, you could do that, I guess, if you want to, you know, be stupid. I don't know. So you got four choices you made to get pregnant. You chose to get pregnant because you made four choices. In America, when you make a choice, you're supposed to personally pay the consequences of that choice, whatever the consequences are. Getting pregnant, consequences are you have a baby and you provide a loving family for the rest of its life. You better do a damn good job of it. Don't be a bitch. Don't abuse it. Feed it right and raise it right. Teach it right. You know, or you can make one of those choices. Or I guess you could also get a hysterectomy. Just cut your plumbing out. Don't get pregnant if you don't ever want to get pregnant. There's a whole bunch of choices here you already made. You're talking about pro-choice. Well, shit. How many choices you need before we have to step in and say, okay, look, fuck off. Just fuck off. There's a bunch of choices you made. You got plenty of chances to make the right choice, and you failed 5 fucking times. And so now you want to have a choice to kill the baby in the womb? I mean, you're a failure 5 times. How about if you an abortion under these kind of circumstances where you fucked up, you made this bad choice, you made that bad choice, you made this bad choice, you made this bad choice, you made this bad choice. How about if you roll in after making so many bad choices that we know you can't possibly be a good mother to a kid ever, then you come in for an abortion, then we say, look, you're not just here for an abortion, you're here for a hysterectomy because you have proven that you do not have the mental capability to make good choices, good enough choices to be able to properly take care of a child without abusing it. So you need to get a hysterectomy by requirement. If that becomes law, where you show up for abortion, you're getting a hysterectomy, maybe that'll stop. So okay, we'll kill this baby. Everybody gets one. Everyone gets one baby, one dead baby. But that's the only baby you ever get. They will be a little more careful about their decision making, won't they? But that's a state issue. The states need to decide that. It should never have been the federal government involved. Just for it, says Angela, but it's true. Donald says getting absolutely crazy. That's true. Become a leader, start a war. Yeah. Donald says any moves to form a militia has to be done in silence. They observe all of us through cell phones and use the internet. It would be difficult. Yeah. Indeed, it would be. I guess we could go and listen to some more of the hearing. There was a couple interesting points in there, but I don't know. I don't know. Is Congress really upset that they're being left out of this whole deal? Are they actually going to root out this black operation and get it back under the control of the federal government where it belongs? Or is it actually still under the federal government now and they're just pretending like it is?
Ms. Luna.
Mr. Grush, in speaking to you yesterday, I just wanted to follow up on Representative Raskin's questions. In the last couple of years, have you had incidences that have caused you to be in fear for your life for addressing these issues?
Yes, personally. Yeah.
I just want everyone to note that he's coming forward in fear of his life. To put in perspective, if they were really not scared about this information coming out, why would someone be intimidated like that? To your knowledge, are NHIs working with adversarial foreign governments in either technology exchange programs or back engineering programs?
I don't have data on that. I'm not sure.
Have you heard or you had people come forward to present that evidence?
Not that particular evidence that you just espoused.
Okay, on the 19th of April, Dr. Kirkpatrick, head of AARO, had said that he did not find any evidence of UAPs. You also stated that you had, in your interview, that you had briefed him on information that you were uncovering, but that he did not follow up with you. Were the items that you divulged to him pertinent to national security?
Yes, him and I had a classified conversation in April 2022 before he took over AARO in July 2022, and I provided him some concerns I had.
Do you know why he might not have followed up with you?
AOC, take note. This is how one exists that doesn't have crazy eyes. I'm not detecting any psycho here.
Unfortunately, I cannot read his mind. I wish he did. I was happy to give sage counsel to him on where to look when he took the helm of AARO.
Okay, and then my last question for you before I move to Mr. Graves is you received prior approval from the Defense Department to speak on certain issues, correct?
Correct, through DOPSR, DoD Pre-Publication and Security Review. And I just want to remind the public, they're just looking from a security perspective. These are my own personal views and opinions, not the department's.
Okay, I'm asking that though mainly because I think that there are many people that would like to discredit you. So it does bring a certain amount of credibility to your testimony.
I'm required by law to do that as a former intelligence officer, or I go to jail for revealing classified information.
Yeah, we don't want you to go to jail. My next question would actually be for Mr. Graves. Can you please explain to me in detail the event that occurred at Vandenberg Air Force Base?
Certainly. In the 2003 timeframe, a large group of Boeing contractors were operating near one of the launch facilities at Vandenberg Air Force Base when they observed a very large 100-yard sided red square approach the base from the ocean and hover at low altitude over one of the launch facilities. This object remained for about 45 seconds or so before darting off over the mountains. There was a similar event within 24 hours later in the evening. This was a morning event. I believe 8:45 in the morning. Later in the evening, post-sunset, there were reports of other sightings on base, including some aggressive behaviors. These objects were approaching some of the security guards at rapid speeds before darting off. And this is information that was received through one of the witnesses that have approached me at Americans for Safe Aerospace.
Was this documented in any official form, whether it was a police blotter?
Yes, they had official documentation and records from the event that the witness held over the years.
And I'm not going to ask you to do it right now for time reasons, but you'd be able to sketch what was witnessed, correct? And have you seen that before on any other equipment and or during your flight time?
I have not seen what they've described. This object was estimated to be almost the size of a football field, and I have not seen anything personally that large.
Okay, and then another question on follow-up referencing the gimbal video go fast incident. Can you just clarify, because to our understanding, the footage was actually cut off at a certain point, but what happens at the end of that video, just for those Americans specifically there that are wanting to know about the rest of that footage?
Certainly. There was some uncertainty or instability with the object. It seemed to rock a bit, and that's the last I had seen of the video. Much of the data that I would recommend be analyzed would consist of radar data that would provide precise kinematics on the object, as well as the fleet of objects that were operating nearby.
Okay, and follow-up, in regards to the reporting procedures that Mr. Garcia had addressed on, as well as Representative Burchett, with the FAA, to your understanding, pilots that are seeing this, commercial airline pilots, are they receiving cease and desist letters from corporations for coming forward with information in regards to safety for potential airline passengers?
I have been made privy to conversations with commercial aviators who have received cease and desist orders.
So the American public should know that corporations are putting their own reputations on the basic, not the line, but ahead of the safety of the American people. And I think, would you agree with that statement?
It appears so.
Okay. And I guess this would be my last, I'm out of time. I yield. I'll be back.
Miss Luna is kind of funny. Very easy on the eyes. I don't find her scary at all, like AOC. AOC is scary. She is scary as fuck. That psycho eyes that she got the crazy eyes. So, you know, some people think AOC's hot. I'm sure she'd do in the pinch look-wise, but man, guys, watch out for the crazy eyes. She's fucking nuts. You need to find you a Miss Luna. Let's check out the chat. Mormon militia. Yeah, it'd have to be a high percentage of Americans with fucking shit. But there's gonna be piles of dead on tanks and shit. You know what I mean? Like, you got to pull out every farmer's tractor and everything else to try and fight tanks with masses of people just dead everywhere. It'd be fucking nuts. I mean, I hope that the government, the people that control the government, would just fucking, you know, say, you know what, we're not even gonna play. Fuck it, we're gonna ride off the United States and go over here and try and do our BRICS thing and join forces with China and all that shit, and do all that, and then hopefully just leave us alone. But I have a feeling they probably wouldn't do that. They still want to fleece America. They still want to steal more from America. They're very greedy, evil people willing to do anything for power. Just versus Donald. Cartels don't seem to have a problem, or do they? Donald says, well, they aren't bad. The current administration just board. You think? Hell yeah. Free Coke. Yeah. The cartels would not last very long under a under President Salisbury, because one of the first things I would do is do everything I can to end the prohibition of any substance, because all the substances this entire time they're still on the street. You didn't stop shit. You made cartels rich. You made corrupt DEA agents rich. You made corrupt cops rich. All kinds of corrupt people get rich off of something that's prohibited. You make it legal, they no longer have a corner on the market. So now there's not this huge drive for them to traffic it all here and try to sell it, because a legitimate businessman could start a business just like these shops selling marijuana and just fucking sell everything legally produced under proper quality control, so nothing's laced with anything else. You're not going to buy this drug over here and have it laced with fentanyl and possibly die or get addicted to something else that you didn't know was in there, because under properly sold products, they're labeled and they're supposed to be quality controlled and precise dosing and all that stuff, so that you have far less issues with people with all these problems: overdoses, getting addicted to something you didn't expect, or dying from something that you didn't know was in there. And treat it like a social issue, just like alcoholism and tobacco addiction, these kind of things. That, we've just had to learn with those types of drugs, alcohol and tobacco are drugs that you're not getting rid of them. You just got to deal with the social malady. And the same thing for these other drugs. You didn't stop them from ending up on the street. You just made the whole problem worse, and you made it where people are dying over them. No one's going to die over marijuana trafficking anymore. No one's going to die over alcohol trafficking. It's just happening. It just, people sell, they get drunk, and they do what they do, Do these drugs suck? Yeah. Are they bad? Do I think anyone should use any of these things? I say no. I don't think anyone should drink or use tobacco or anything, ideally, because these things really they're not good for you. But we're in a free country, and you should have a right to use it. And the government shouldn't get away with taxing the living fuck out of the thing. I don't think, get rid of the ATF, fuck them, just tax it like you do any other kind of product and leave it be. Like they're selling weed now almost everywhere, but it's such a ridiculous clusterfuck of hoops to jump through. It's stupid. I think if a little girl should be able to sell lemonade on the street, on the sidewalk, and dudes should be able to sell marijuana out there and not worry about being fucked with. But anyway, the legalization of all drugs would fuck those cartels up. And then we could take all that law enforcement resources that was being wasted chasing after substances and direct them towards saving these children that are being trafficked. So yeah, it would just take. It's just a legislative thing, to end the cartels. You just cut off their ability to make a bunch of money. Well, as far as the drugs are concerned, the human trafficking, legalizing that's not an option. So we need to go balls deep on that shit and destroy that shit. And while I support bringing the troops back from all the different bases all around the world, and apparently we're doing some bullshit in Syria, we need to not be doing that. We certainly don't need to be wasting money on Ukraine, and some people say that we actually do have some of our people in Ukraine. No, everybody comes home, and we go down to the southern border, and then we got to secure the fuck out of that border. And then President Salisbury calls up Mexico and says, "Look, here's the deal. These criminals and these people invading our nation in vast numbers, trying to displace our population and steal from our population's welfare system and stuff like that, and not legally coming in. They've invaded our nation illegally. They're all criminals. Every single illegal immigrant, make no bones about that. Okay, every single illegal immigrant is a criminal. But and a lot of these people, they're worse than just an illegal immigrant. A lot of them are MS-13 and these different cartels, and a bunch of them are Chinese fighting age men. What the fuck are they doing here? You know, there's people from every single country in Africa and a bunch of countries in all over the world, Asia, Europe, South America, obviously. What are all these people flooding in our nation? They're just going to displace our population and steal from us and take what's ours. So, and they're all criminals. So we get our military lined up on our border. I call it Mexico. Said, look, you've been letting all these people come in. They've been flying into Mexico City. They travel to your country without getting stopped. They don't get stopped at the airport. They don't get stopped anywhere in your country along the way. They come to our border and they're allowed to invade your friends and neighbors. So apparently you're not our friend. You're not being very neighborly. And so here's what's going to happen. You may have noticed all this military we got lined up on the border. They're going to start moving south in a line. They're going to move it south. And they're going to roll, and they're going to roll, and they're going to roll. We're going to have a moving southern border in effect. As we come through, we're checking everybody. We're just checking everybody. We find cartels, we obliterate them. We find human traffickers, we obliterate them. We can call it a war on Mexico if you want to, or you could just say, look, come on in. But the only way we're stopping this shit is if we get fucking serious. And then back in home, again, a lot of it's legislative. Take away all the incentives. Sanctuary cities are a violation of federal law. 8 U.S. Code, Section 1324. Aiding and abetting an illegal immigrant. Sanctuary cities are doing that, and every single person that's responsible for that has thousands of counts of a violation of that law. Therefore, every single person who is responsible for sanctuary cities goes to jail for life. They're going to jail for life. And, we're not going to be rounding up every person that employed an illegal immigrant or gave housing to an illegal immigrant. But we'll say on this day, look, from this day forward, if you give a home to illegal immigrants, you're in violation of this law. You're aiding and abetting an illegal immigrant. If you give them a job, you're in violation of this law. So we're gonna start charging American citizens that violate this law will get charged. So now these illegal immigrants and giving welfare to them too. Welfare given to an illegal immigrant is a violation of federal law. I mean, that's what the law is. I mean, we can read it if you want. I can go find it. We can read it, but that's what the law is, and so they're all in violation. So, we just need a strong president that's going to stand there and fucking say it, and insist that this law be enforced. I don't care if it's a private charity. You're a private charity in the United States. You cannot help illegal immigrants with anything, or you're in violation of this law. They will all pick up and fucking leave. They will go. There's nothing here for them anymore. They can't live anywhere. They can't get a job. They can't get food stamps. They can't get anything. And they will leave. Especially if we add on top of that, if we catch you in our nation, we'll give you 3 weeks to get the fuck out. start walking. If we catch you in your nation, it's going to be a bad deal. Because you're going to get processed. What I mean by that is you're getting fingerprinted. You have a file, and because you have a file, we have a file on you that you were caught in our nation as an illegal immigrant. If you ever want to try and come legally, you won't be able to because you will have this record of illegally entering the nation. So it would be to your benefit to, in the 3 weeks I give you, to get the fuck out. To get the fuck out. Do so in an orderly fashion. Don't commit any crimes. Don't steal anything or attack people or anything like that. Just get the fuck out. Now, ideally, I would like to see Canada absorbed by the United States before that happens, so Canada can be flushed out too. But I could be asking a little much on that one. Donald says, I bet Hunter gets the best quality Peruvian marching powder like what was available in the 80s and 90s. Chessboard says, Donald, someone told me the new Bud Light bikini calendar is going to be nuts. These nuts. That freak just isn't right, Chessboard. He plays his female bit too much. He overplays the role. Even tolerable trans thinks he's a poser. Yeah, I think he's a poser. Like, a normal trans person doesn't act like that fucking freak. Dylan is, I don't believe, see, that's, I think Dylan's just grifting like a bitch. He's grifting. He's not acting, he's acting as ridiculous as possible. I swear sometimes they try to see just how far they can force people to, how ridiculous the shit is that they can force people to just tolerate. At what point do we stop tolerating absolutely, completely ridiculous shit? Like they're purposely trying to push us to a point where we just fucking start killing people. Because people have a breaking point, right? At some point, you push people too far and they just start fucking killing people. That's what happens. The only reason I can think of that they would do some of this shit is that they're trying to get you to just start killing people. They're trying to push you over the edge. Dylan Mulvaney is definitely a level of ridiculousness. Like the dude is even pissing off trans people. So, because they seem to be purposely trying to push people over the edge of violence, my thoughts is if it does break out in violence, just make popcorn, guys. Watch the show. I mean, unless you're one of the people that got pushed over the edge and you're out there whacking people, otherwise, make popcorn and watch the show, because that's all you can do at that point. People will do what they do when people have had a fucking enough, and until they run out of steam and calm down. But they've got to be trying to push people over the edge. This shit's ridiculous. I mean, the dude was sticking, I don't know, was it frozen V8 popsicles up his ass to simulate a period? What trans woman actually wants to endure periods? I mean, it's disgusting. Men barely are able to tolerate a normal woman's period. You got a bloody ass, Dylan. That's all you got. You're trying to simulate a bloody ass. Look, if you want blood coming out your ass, go find a dude that's very well endowed and tell him to wreck the shit out of that bitch. You'll bleed out your ass, I'm sure. I imagine. I don't know. Go get wrecked. I'm sure you'll get all the blood out your ass you want, Dylan. Donald says, I wonder how the Clydesdales handled the forced transitioning. Oh, there you go. Get one of the Clydesdales to wreck Dylan. If Dylan wants to bleed out his ass, go assume the position in the horse stalls. That Clydesdale, I'm pretty damn sure, will make you bleed. You'll need stitches, man. You'll be one loose bitch. Chessport says, Donald, I knew that beer tastes like horse piss years ago. Yeah, it never was good. I don't understand why people drink that stuff. I don't understand why people drink a lot of beers. Most of them taste like complete shit. Donald says, I'm getting hack notifications from Android. Is this another scam angle being played? Probably. Yeah. I think we need to bomb these buildings with call centers in Kolkata, India. We have the coordinates. Yeah, the government's really failing in this regard. I'm not sure exactly what avenues of that we have at our disposal to deal with that. Can we actually block those call centers? Can we, make a phone call to India and say, hey, if y'all don't want to deal with this, do you mind if we, send a drone real quick? we can fuck this shit up. We can deal with this. We're really good. We'll go to Obama. Obama said he's the greatest drone striker ever. We'll say, hey, Obama, get your joystick out and send a drone over here. Ask your boyfriend, Big Mike, permission first. We don't want to see you drowned in the pond too. Big Mike looks like Big Mike will fuck a motherfucker up with a paddle board if you piss him off. Chessport says, Donald, the Pentagon said that China is hacking all the military computers. Well, if that's happening, we need to fucking do something about that. Where the fuck is our PSYOPs or what do they call the computer security people, the cyber security people? Yeah, our cyber security people are fucking not doing their job if they are letting China hack the military computers. So somebody needs to pay with their job, at the very least. Some serious negligence, risking the safety of the nation. So let's see. I caught up in the chat.
Mr. Moskowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, let's talk about the laws of physics for a second. Mr. Graves and Commander Faber, I heard you talk about speed. When those objects broke the sound barrier, did they make a sonic boom?
I was in the jet. You can't hear anything. It's kind of loud in there.
Yeah, you're not able to actually personally tell within the vehicle. I will say the objects that we were seeing, they were spherical, and they were observed up to Mach 2, which is a very non-aerodynamic shape.
What about G-forces? Let's talk about G-forces of those vehicles. Could a human survive those G-forces with known technology today?
No.
No, not for the acceleration rates that we observed.
Okay. What about what they look like? How close did you get? Did you see a seam or a rivet or a section? And what I mean is, obviously, the jets you're flying have all those things. Did these objects have those?
I really don't think you're... Are you actually going to get close enough to another plane to see rivets? I mean, I know these are UFOs, but it's kind of a weird question. Look at George Knapp sitting back. Can you see? Let me see if y'all can see. I'm sure you can. George Knapp sitting back. He's all crunched up. He's trying like hell not to touch them other guys. But this is the guy. Look, this is the United States federal government, and you can't afford more space. Like, you can't put more. Give these guys some more space. Look at poor George Knapp. I feel sorry for because I put myself in that chair, right? Like, I need some space. Like, give me some space. Make things more comfortable here. I mean, this is a goddamn federal government. You guys are blowing money all over the place. You can't put chairs with arms on them so people can put their arms on a chair and then leave. You need to leave some space between the chairs. Look, there's 3 empty chairs there. Some fuckers didn't show up. I don't know. This is ridiculous. Look at poor George Knapp. I feel sorry for George Knapp. You know, Jeremy Cordell over here looking serious as fuck. He's a serious dude. He's not taking any notes like George Knapp is, though. You might want to think about doing that. Take some notes, Jeremy. Take some fucking notes.
Do you want to go ahead?
I didn't have the detail to be able to tell that.
So we got within a half mile of the Tic Tac, which people say that's pretty far, but in airplanes, that's actually relatively close. No, it was perfectly white, smooth, no windows. Although when we did take the original FLIR video that is out there, when you put it on a big screen, it actually had 2 little objects that came out of the bottom of it. But other than that, no windows, no seams, no nothing.
Mr. Grush, as a result of your previous government work, have you met with people with direct knowledge or have direct knowledge yourself of non-human origin craft?
Yes, I personally interviewed those individuals.
Mr. Grush, as a result of your previous government work, have you met with people with direct knowledge or have direct knowledge yourself about ATs, advanced technologies that the U.S. government has?
Based on conventional advanced tech, I was briefed to the preponderance of the Defense Department's both space and aerospace compartmented programs, yeah.
Do you have knowledge or do you have reason to believe that there are programs in the advanced tech space that are unsanctioned?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say that they're above congressional oversight, what do you mean?
Complicated question. So there's, some, I would call it abuse here. So congressional oversight of conventional special access programs. So I'll use Title 10, so DOD as an example, right? So 10 U.S. Code Section 119 discusses congressional oversight of SAPs, discusses the DepSecDef's ability to waive congressional reporting. However, the Gang of 8 is at least supposed to be notified if a waived or waive bigoted unacknowledged SAP is created, and that's public law.
Well, so that how does, I don't want to cut you off, but
Yeah.
how does a program like that get funded?
I will give you generalities. I can get very specific in a closed session, but misappropriation of funds and
Does that mean
self-fund.
that there is money in the budget that is set to go to a program, but it doesn't, and it goes to something else?
Yes, I have specific knowledge of that. Yep.
Do you think U.S. corporations are overcharging for certain tech they're selling to the U.S. government, and that additional money is going to programs?
Correct, through something called IRAD.
Okay. Satellite imagery. Let's talk about satellite imagery. We have satellites all over the place, some that we're aware of and many that we're not aware of, right? We're taking pictures of everything at every point and second. Mr. Grush, are you aware, do you have direct knowledge, or have you talked to people with direct knowledge that there are satellite imagery of these events?
That was one of my primary tasks at NGA, since we process, exploit, and disseminate that kind of information. I've seen multiple cases, some of which, to my understanding, and of course, I left NGA in April, so that's my information cutoff date. But I personally reviewed both what we call overhead collection and from other strategic and tactical platforms that I could not even explain prosaically. And I have a degree in physics, by the way, as well. And I am aware that you guys have not seen these reports, unfortunately. And I don't know why.
Do you have direct knowledge, or you've spoken to people with direct knowledge that this imagery applies to crash sites, crash imagery?
I can't discuss that in an open session.
Okay. Do you have any information that the U.S. government is involved in a disinformation campaign to deny the existence of certain UAPs?
I can't go beyond what I've already stated publicly in my News Nation interview because it touches other sensitivities.
Okay. I'll yield the balance of my time back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Fox?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank our witnesses for being here today. Mr. Garouche, in your sworn testimony, you state that the United States government has retrieved supposedly extraterrestrial spacecraft and other UAP-related artifacts. You go so far as to state that the U.S. is in possession of, quote, non-human spacecraft, end quote, and that some of these artifacts have circulated with defense contractors. Several other former military and intelligence officials have come forward with similar allegations, albeit in non-public settings. However, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the director of AARO, previously testified before Congress that there has been, and I quote, no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity or of, quote, off-world technology brought to the attention of the office. To your knowledge, is that statement correct?
It's not accurate. I believe Dr. Kirkpatrick mentioned he had about 30 individuals that have come to Arrow thus far. A few of those individuals have also come to Arrow that I also interviewed,
Okay.
and I know what they provided Dr. Kirkpatrick and their team.
Okay.
I was able to evaluate
Okay,
that information.
I need to go on.
Sure.
But my understanding that his statement is accurate, came from a direct quote. And this contradiction is a perfect example of why we need to inject transparency into our government. And for another example, look no further than the pitiful response to the Chinese spy balloon debacle earlier this year. You may remember the mass confusion that ensued when the balloon was first spotted over Montana, 4 days after it first entered U.S. airspace over Alaska. The Biden administration's initial inability to address the object grew into a continuous series of embarrassments. After news of the balloon reached the mainstream media, we were assured that the balloon posed no threat to our security. However, after the balloon was allowed to transit the entire continental United States, fighter jets were scrambled off the coast of South Carolina to shoot it down. This flip-flopping and obfuscation caused needless confusion, fear, and panic across the country. It's my hope, Mr. Chairman, that this sort of confusion will not be repeated. We should investigate the extent to which elements of our government possess or do not possess information that is of critical value to the American people. We owe it to the citizens of this nation to make sure that our government is transparent and accountable. We must make sure that our government provides answers, and Congress must do its duty to solicit those answers. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Yeah, Mr. Frost.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2022, NASA announced that it was commissioning an independent study team to examine UAPs. The NASA team is comprised of scientists across different fields, as well as former astronauts and pilots. In May, the independent study team held its first public meeting, which included the perspectives from NASA senior leaders, as well as perspectives from the Department of Defense and intelligence agencies. The NASA study team is also expected to release its first report pretty soon, and I think it's safe to say that we all eagerly await its results. Mr. Graves, how might NASA's research influence the commercial industry regarding safety in UAP?
I think NASA has a big role to play as far as commercial aviation safety, and it's one of their original charges as an organization. One of the recommendations that have been put forward is to utilize their existing aviation safety reporting system to serve as a short-term fill and trusted platform for pilots that want to report on UAP. It also has built-in analytics capability and is funded by Congress.
Gotcha. And also, Mr. Graves, are there any other industries that may be influenced by the NASA research on UAPs? And if so, how so?
Well, I think there is a large swath of commercial capabilities that could be brought to bear on this topic, from space-based or ground-based sensor systems that are available open source or through commercial marketplaces. And I think NASA's work, as they work to identify and highlight specific parameters that can be found, we can take that information and promulgate this through the public sector so that we can have a more open conversation about what we're seeing.
You know, in 2020,
Hey, let's hold it on Mr. Frost here. Let me jump over to the chat. We're a little over halfway through, so maybe we'll go through the rest of it on another live stream. Because there's things to comment on all throughout. I hate to miss the last half on live stream here. So maybe in a random live, one of these days here, we'll look at the rest of it, and Mr. Frost, we'll see what the rest of his questions, and then AOC, of course, you can see how she can actually behave somewhat civilized and not be a complete psycho sometimes. And anyway, and go through the rest of it. So let's see what's going on in chat. It was stopped there for a little bit right here on chessboard. Chessboard's, and it looks like it took off also. So I don't know if it got kind of hung up or what. But Donald says, "Sorry, I'm back. Wanted to look closer at these alerts. The English is all proper, unlike the goofs in India usually do." Chessboard says, "Lock, gotta run. We'll catch y'all later. Blessings all." All right, Chessboard, thanks for hanging out. See you next time. Donald says, "Heard that Chessboard, we are all hacked from use of TikTok. Basically, TikTok should be completely banned from the U.S. I mean, you might as well, invite Chinese spies into the nation." Oh, we've got a bunch coming across the border. That's right. Chessboard says, "Donald never used Facebook or TikTok." Donald says, "So what was the balloon made of?" They said was up high in the Rockies, and they had a long time before they could retrieve it. I don't know. I don't know what it was made of. But it sounds like that these balloons might not have even been spy balloons. That they were just mistaking weather balloons for something. Sometimes people like something they never noticed before, and then they see it, and they're like, "What the fuck is that? Oh my god!" Well, it's just a weather balloon. Somebody's released a weather balloon. Donald says, "Yeah, I'm dropping the chessboard." Donald says, "Do one Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern." What? Hell, I ain't no at 9 p.m. Eastern. That would be 8 p.m. this time, and sun is bearing down on this van like you don't want to be in here cooking. You know what I mean? It's fucking hot, and it'll be 100 degrees outside or something like that. Hell, I gotta look at the fucking which if it's 100 degrees outside, it's more than that in a metal box like a van, with the sun beating on it from low in the west there. I could certainly pull up Monday's forecast. What's it going to be? Holy shit. It's barely even going to get down. Man, let me see here. It didn't get very cool at night. Shit, they don't give the full day forecast. Why am I not getting? You fucks. AccuWeather sucks sometimes. So I can get the forecast up to 1 in the afternoon on Monday. It'll be up to 97. And over the next few hours, it will rise 1 to 2 degrees every hour. So it'll be 100 degrees at least, possibly as high as 102 or 3. So anyway, it'd be too hot. Like I explained earlier, in the early part of this live stream, if you haven't caught it before you got here, the computer was not functioning. It was the live stream wasn't going to be able to happen. So when I was in the shower, I put the laptop in the refrigerator and got it cold. The problem with that is when I bring it out here in the muggy Oklahoma heat, condensation forms on it. So that's a risky move to do. But that is the only way this live stream happened. 100 degrees is too fucking hot. I mean, it really needed to be because even getting in the 80s, the computer starts acting up. And if the computer's acting up from the heat, that means this is wearing hard on the computer to do this. So anyway, so I'm probably going to end up breaking this thing, you know what I mean? But 8 p.m., the only way I could pull it off, I think, in that kind of heat. We're supposed to get we're supposed to have a little bit of a cool down, but that's going to happen after Monday. We're going to be up to 100 at least every day for a few more days. So, and the only way I can do a live stream like that is if I stick the computer in the refrigerator, and then also I got a bunch of I got a couple of frozen jugs of water over here on the other side of this fan, and a couple ice packs that I have, like, to get some amount of cool air blowing right here. So, yeah, I can't see 8 p.m. Maybe 9 p.m. Maybe. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do. But that would be 9 p.m. Central Time. So it'd be 10 p.m. your time. Michael says, yeah, there ain't shit to watch Mondays. Yeah, I would love to do like 6 p.m. every night, almost every night. But I just can't do it. Got, other shit to do, part of it, but in the summer, the heat is just can't do it that early because 9's too late. I'm already getting kind of tired at 9. You know what I mean? So that's what sucks about 9, doing those 9 o'clock at night. But that's the only way I could do it a lot of time because it's too hot. I mean, I can endure the heat, but the computer is having a hard time dealing with that heat. So even with this fan going underneath this fan that's underneath the computer that Chessboard sent on Monday. Yeah, there ain't shit to watch on Monday. Cooler weather all this week. Lockbeard. Fuck, not here. I mean, well, it's supposed to cool down. I can't remember what day. Sometime, but not by Monday. Not by Monday. Icon says AccuWeather sucks, dude. Use the NWS page like us nerds. I don't know. I've gotten used to using AccuWeather. Like, I'm just used to dealing with it because it, for the most part, they seem to overshoot the heat predictions by a couple degree or two, but they do pretty decent. They do pretty decent. WeatherGov.TSA. National Weather Service. Icon says have some real weather. It's the best they can, I guess. Anyhow, Icon says I prefer making my own forecast. Really, yeah. Well, for the most part, I mean, I'm outside, so I can see the weather. You know what I mean? I can see the weather. Don says, were you able to get to town for the... Yeah, I got it. Like on the 14th, like the middle of the month, I was heading into town, so I was able to get it. Then. Chessboard was chomping at the bit for me to get it, I guess, but I couldn't get to town until then. Icon says, yeah, what's up with the crotch cooler? It seems to help, but there's only so much you can do because when you're 100 degrees, you can blow a fan all you want. It's kind of like a hair dryer. You know what I mean? You're just blowing hot air. So it a lot of times it will still function to some degree, but it's like it fucks everything up to where you can't really do hardly anything. And the best thing to do is just don't make the computer work, you know, and let it rest. So, so I don't know. But yeah, so I don't know exactly. It depends. It just depends on how hot it is, what I got going on, and whether I can live stream when the next time I can live stream is, and do a random live, and then maybe complete the UFO thing, which is turning into part of the reason why. Because look, we're looking at the politicians talking about UFOs, so it's making it hard not to talk politics, because some of these people that we're looking at are complete worthless pieces of shit. Icon says it doesn't work. No, it works. I mean, it helps. It does help, but it's 100 degrees out here. You know what I mean? Donald says, yeah, the cooler would be cool for the tank area. Well, I don't know exactly how that works. Icon says, oh, I missed that comment. What's up with the crotch cooler? Well, it don't cool that. It sits on this platform where the computer sits. So, and then it keeps the computer cool. So, sweaty ball, says Donald. Icon says, sounds like you need an actual refrigerant type cooler. Well, if I was indoors where there was AC, that would solve the problem. You know what I mean? That's why we need to grow the channel, get a lot more monetary supporters, and so I can get a place where it is cool. Either rent a place or build the hobbit hole I was talking about, because that would stay nice and cool. But it would it would take money to build, you know. Kind of an underground home. There's a spot where I think I could put a underground home in, and wouldn't need AC because underground it stays cool. Icon says, sounds like you need an actual refrigerant. I already read that one. Okay. Donald says, that's a disturbing picture, Lockbeard. Which, what, the shreddy balls? Or the hobbit hole? Oh, you talking about that alien? Yeah. Yeah. I explained to everyone earlier, made that with Being AI, made the original picture, and then I did some modifications of it and changed it a little bit, but it's basically what Bing popped out in the AI. So that was sometimes you can make some pretty cool looking stuff with that function on Bing. Icon says the alien looks like my pot monster. Donald says I've been in the cellar all summer, no AC. Yeah, cellar. If you can get underground, say 55 degrees year round, you're in good shape. Yes, the alien, Donald says. I have a hard time convincing some people like living. Oh, I don't want to live underground like you. I think what you're picturing isn't what real underground homes will look like. You know, like because like the person just completely rejected the idea altogether without ever seeing what an underground home can look like. Like if you look at the Lord of the Rings, I mean, that's legitimately could be an underground home that someone could build. That's not too bad, is it? It looks really nice, and there's even some windows looking on the outside, and you know it's not some dungeon like a lot of people are thinking. It could be if that's what you want, but a lot of times you have one wall that's exposed to the outside. And you got some windows and a door, and you build a hill up around it. The person asks, "What about water?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What about water?" Look, you don't dig a hole like you're digging a cellar, though. You don't, or a basement. They're like, well, my cellar's always damp. Well, yeah, because they dug down to put the cellar in. They should never. Ideally, they should never do that. What you should do is, if you got, say, you got a level place, great. Put some gravel down. Don't dig into the ground. Put some gravel on top of the ground. And then you put your concrete pad on top of the gravel, and then you build pour your concrete domes, because you're going to use domes. You make forms and you build domes. There's inflatable forms that you can use to create domes, concrete domes. So it's above the grade. And then you bring in topsoil and fill and stuff to create a big hill. So you don't want to dig down, because that's where you have all these problems that this person's thinking. Like, you're not saying the best way to build an underground home is to not dig down. You create the hill that you're going to be under. And then you can call yourself a hobbit name like Underhill. Baggins from Bag End. Icon says there's several underground homes around here. It was a big thing back in the mid-'70s when they were built. It would be a really big thing now if I was a real estate developer. I'd love to be able to go, buy land and build rental homes, but they're underground homes. But nice ones that people would like to be in. I mean, it's great. I mean, look, it's concrete. It's not going to burn. Termites aren't going to eat it. You can't lose. The temperature is easy to maintain. If you're like, think about it. If say you have a renter that abandons on you, the pipes ain't going to freeze. No big deal. It's underground. Pipes are never going to freeze. You never have to replace shingles. You know what I mean? Tornado's not going to blow it away. It's fucking awesome. It's the best way to go. I mean, who needs any of that shit? It could be a forest fire. It's not gonna hurt the house. It's underground. It's concrete. Even if it wasn't underground, it's concrete. It's not gonna burn. Donald says a friend in grade school lived in an underground home. Not sure what they did to build it, but the roof leaked. Well, they fucked up somewhere, because if you make a concrete dome, and because you make a concrete dome and then you put a moisture layer, or you can do like paint on type of stuff, that is your water barrier. And because it's underground, it's never exposed to extreme heat. The moisture layer on the concrete, it's never exposed to extreme heat or extreme cold, which was what wears down your roofing material a lot. So it's you can't lose. You can't lose as long as you build it right. Yeah, it might cost a little bit more to build it initially, but the savings in climate control bills alone is is going to come back and pay off very quickly, the difference in the initial cost. Donald says, Icon, that's when this one was built. Icon says there were a couple of geodesic homes too, completely covered in shingles. Yeah, I mean they're cool and stuff, but I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't build that. If you're gonna do that one, just build an underground dome. It's just a lot better. It's better in every way. I don't understand why people so. I mean, if you're worried about not destroying nature, well, guess what? You built a hill over top. There's grassland on top of your house. So now, deer and anything else can run around up there, and you destroyed that piece of land temporarily while you were constructing your home, but then you gave it back to nature. The top is covered in grass and various other types of plants. Once a year, I would advise people to do once a year. Probably like around here would be January would probably be the best time because it's nice and cool out and it's the driest month. Everything because you want the month when everything's dormant for the most part because you don't want to be killing things. You want all your snakes and your turtles hiding somewhere. But once a year, light it on fire. People like, why are you lighting your house on fire? Well, my house ain't gonna burn. We're burning off all the material, all the surface grass, and then so any tree seedlings that are trying to come up, it's going to kill those tree seedlings. But the grass will survive because a lot of grass species are pyrophytes. They like to have the surface burned off. And then the grass comes back, but the tree seedlings that were trying to come in are all burnt off. Because you don't want trees growing on top of there. Generally, I mean, you could build such a way and do it such a way where it could work, but generally speaking, you don't want to grow trees on top of your underground house. I would not do that. Curious to see if it's still there. Have to take a ride tomorrow, says Donald. Icon says, Donald, the closest one has had no issues with leaks. There have been a couple others that have leak issues. The one had a sinkhole behind where the home was dug out. They found it with the lawnmower. Donald says, how deep was the sinkhole? Got to put the chat back up, I guess, for a moment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I'll do the next live stream. Everybody on Rumble, if you don't mind, go subscribe to the LOCKBEARD channel on YouTube. Even if you don't plan on ever getting on YouTube, it helps me build up some subscribers over there so that maybe I can one day get monetized over there to support our efforts. Certainly would love to improve the production value here. I would like to go, interview people and do the interview type show, but can't afford to do all that right now until things grow. YouTube has done everything it can to keep the LOCKBEARD channel down. They do not like a lot of the things that I want to talk about and expose, and so that's why they have deleted two of my Google accounts entirely when they really got pissed at me. But they deleted the LOCKBEARD channel number of times now. I think I've lost count. I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times. I've lost count. They keep making it, and they keep shutting it down, mostly for medical misinformation. So they claim information that has not been proven to be true. That the government was involved. There was a big conspiracy. The COVID-19 virus was purposely created, probably purposely released. But at any rate, it was used to. Well, it had to be purposely. It had to be. I don't know how we could think any different. It had to be purposely used. And then the vaccine was used to conduct a massive experiment on people, while at the same time thinning out the population. They committed premeditated murder. They committed a genocide. Pfizer, Moderna, these companies, these pharmaceutical companies are complicit as well. I mean, they're part of it. They created the vaccines. They're in on it. They're guilty of genocide. And there should be jail time and executions. These people are so evil and criminal. They have fucked up big time. And the people in the government to help them do it, again, jail time, some executions. Fauci should be fucking executed. Genocidal maniacs get executed, and these guys are. They did it, and they did it on purpose. It was premeditated, mass murder, genocide. 4-foot sinkhole. Donald says, so emailing shorts is better, Lockbeard? Emailing? What? Oh, no. I mean, Facebook, I mean, it's, don't email them. I got too much shit in my email. I mean, you can send them to Facebook. I just don't get on Facebook every day necessarily, or I try not to. It also says buffer fest for me, darn it. What's the sub count here? What is the sub count here? Looks like 89. 89 follows. Awesome. It's growing. It's growing. All right, so let's I don't know where Mr. Lee is, but Mr. Lee needs to get back into chat.
Type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes. The dead rising from the grave.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
All right, thank y'all for coming, and I'll see you next time. See Icon sending a link to Donald there. Donald says, all right, for others with big accounts to do it, though. Do what now? Wait, I don't know what you're. It's all right for others with big accounts to do it, though. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let's see. Emailing shorts? I think you're the only person that sends me. Well, there's a few people I get sent videos here and there, but for the most part, you're like 99% of the videos that get sent to me. But so I don't know what you're. All right for others with big accounts to do it, though. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean there. But couldn't make that work. I don't know what the deal was, Icon. I couldn't make it work. If it's on, so there's got to be something wrong. Surely somebody out there made a clip of that could be put on to YouTube or something where it could be watched, because it just wasn't working. Donald says, holy Icon, Bigfoot is getting serious. Squatch Waters need to investigate. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you guys next time.